Well, happy Veterans Day, everybody. I am actually enjoying my Veterans Day. I actually had a really great lunch. I went out for a medium rare steak because if you don't order steak medium rare, you don't know how to have steak. Um, I had beer. I had a few beers. I bought one for my veteran friend, and he reciprocated and bought me some. So actually, I've got what's that? Anyways, anyways, I'm having a few drinks. Why? Because I can, because I'm American, and I've got my medals. See, look at see my little medals. Are they cool?
Oh yeah, I can see the medals.
Yeah. Let me show you. That's my enlisted surface warfare specialist, my good conduct, my national defense, my Southwest. No, wait. This is my Armed Services Expeditionary Medal and my Southwest Asian Medal. This one's supposed to have a little bronze cluster, and I need a sea service ribbon with 2 bronze clusters. Plus, I'm actually eligible for the Kuwaiti Liberation Medal. And also, I found out just today that they think that my ship actually earned a Battle E for being battle ready, and I didn't get that one because it was retroactive. So I actually may be eligible for at least one more ribbon or one more medal. So this is my insignia. Okay, this is Petty Officer First Class. But anyways, I'm here to thank all the veterans who have served and the people that are still serving right now. The people that are active duty right now. I'd like to thank you for your service. Anybody who has actually served in any military anywhere around the world, it's a hard job, and I respect you guys, which is one of the reasons I want to have this hangout before you do our debate later on. We got Troy Lawrence, Dr. Troy Lawrence, going to join us hopefully at 3. So in about an hour, no wait, yeah, an hour and 15 minutes. But until then, I was going to have a little hangout because I want to address some things that came up. Oh, is that you in fatigues, General?
Yeah, that's me and my what we call the greens here.
Your cameo, your camouflage. Did you serve?
No. I'm more in the aviation sector, so you can see my goofy hat.
Dude, you look like you're 12.
I look 12.
Yeah. Yeah, you look like you're 12. But anyways, let me address some things that have come up recently because my Facebook has been exploding. I've kind of been in correspondence with a good friend of mine that I've known for 4 or 5 years named Bella Coley. She is a pinup model. She is a philanthropist. She is a humanitarian. She is the chief operation officer of Alaskan Distillery, and we go way back. And we've kind of been on the same page on this Facebook things for quite a while in regards to the election. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are even not Americans are weighing in on this election, and it's getting kind of a little old. I mean, here's the facts, people, and I don't care what the hell you think, what the hell you believe. You have to deal with reality. Hillary lost, okay? And these riots and these protests are not civil disobedience. They're not people expressing their outrage. They're criminals. They're people that are burning things, and they're people that are overturning cars, accosting civilians, accosting police. And what's funny is when Hillary had actually asked Trump, if you lose, will you concede graciously and tell your people, we've lost and then move on. And eventually he said yes. And Hillary did. I got to give her props. She said exactly that. I think she gave a very good concession speech. I was actually surprised. But there's a lot of people out there now that are still fixated on the fact that supposedly Hillary won the popular vote, which is probably true. I mean, I looked at the numbers. She's about 0.02% ahead. It's a few 100,000 votes. But here's the reality, people. We don't live in a democracy, or at least Americans, right? In general, you're not an American, but Americans, you don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic, and we have the Electoral College for a reason. And one of the reasons for Electoral College is to make sure that we don't get a runaway majority of votes. The one way we don't get the urban centers overrunning the rural centers. We want a swatch across America to get an accurate representation. And we've always known this. So we don't go by the popular vote. We go by the Electoral College. And I actually had people telling me today that they think that not only does Trump want to destroy America, but he wants to get rid of guns. He wants to destroy lesbian gay rights. And yet everything I've heard since he's been elect has been just the opposite. He's very staunch pro Second Amendment, and that he's very staunch to maintain gay marriage and maintain the rights of gay and lesbians. There's been a few people out there, Rumpus, who thinks that guns should be taken away from the rights of Americans. that Americans should not own firearms. Well, you know what? Nobody has a right to do that. Nobody has a right to say that to us. I live in America. We have the Constitution, and I swore an oath when I joined the military to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That meant I agreed with the Constitution, and I agree with the Second Amendment. I think any law-abiding citizen, if you're not a felon and you have no mental instabilities, that you should be able to own a firearm. I believe this country is founded upon that. I view that very strongly. Why are people shocked when they find out that I actually am very pro-American, that I'm a patriot? I don't get that. I've never hidden any of this stuff. And then I get accused of things like, oh, well, you didn't vote for Hillary? You must be sexist. No. Oh, you didn't vote for Hillary? You must not want a woman president. No, I'm fine with a woman president. You voted for Trump. You must support sexism and bigotry. No, I don't support any of the two. It's ridiculous that people are gone to this extremes because people have voted on a two-party system, and some people voted for Trump and some people voted for Clinton, or excuse me, for Hillary. So I didn't vote for either one. I'll be honest with you. I live in California. My vote wouldn't have mattered, but I would have voted for Clinton, it's to Trump over Clinton, because I find that Clinton is the status quo, that she is the mainstream that we have been fighting for people against, that we don't want anymore. We don't want the corrupt politicians from the 80s and the 90s, and we don't want that anymore. Is Trump a viable candidate? Probably not. I've always said from day one, I don't support Trump. I am against Hillary. I'm hoping that somebody replaces him somewhere down the line. But I've actually had people post on my Facebook page they're advocating assassination. I mean, are you fucking people crazy?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
who
that's
does
just ridiculous.
this?
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. I cannot stand Hillary. I don't want anything harmful to come to her at all. I wish her the best. I never wanted her to get sick when she was sick. I never wanted any ill wishes. I just think she's a very corrupt individual looking out for her own interest. I mean, she's worth $31 million, and he's worth, Bill's worth something like $80 million. So like $111 million between them. Okay, not as much as Trump, but you know what? They're part of the elite. I get that. It's hypocritical to say that either one of them wanted to become president because of financial reasons. They're already both rich. They were wanted for power. My decision was that Hillary wanted greater power than Trump. Trump's narcissistic. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not be insane. Trump is a narcissist. But I think he's a narcissist that actually wants to help America. I think maybe he has some high in the sky, misguided things, but I think he actually does want to help America. I don't find building a wall to be bigoted. I don't find building a wall to be segregation or against Hispanics. Matter of fact, most Hispanics I know are very much for building some kind of wall. We are here. We are people that want immigration. We want a collective melting pot. We don't want people coming here illegally, and that's the problem. And people coming here illegally, that's dangerous. We don't have any knowledge of who these people are, what they're capable of. Any country that's in the world has sovereign borders, except for us. We have very porous borders. And I think Trump wants to solidify that. And I don't blame him for that. Did he have a lot of rhetoric on the campaign trail? Yes. I don't think he's a bigot. Do I think he's a sexist? Yes. Do I think he committed assault? Yes. Do I think he objectifies women? Yes. But I still don't think he's as bad as Hillary. That was my right to do so. But when I see people telling me that because Trump got voted in, that we should automatically start repealing things like the Second Amendment, I'm appalled. I'm shocked and awed, because as an American, I am grounded in the premise that the U.S. Constitution dictates how we are to live our lives as quarter Americans: freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religious beliefs, freedom of right to bear arms. You cannot pick and choose what you want when it comes to the Constitution. And those same people that say, well, you know what, Americans shouldn't have the right to bear arms, are the same people that are probably saying, well, you know what, you shouldn't have freedom of religion. And I'm all for freedom of religion, even though I'm agnostic. So I'm getting a little disappointed in Americans right now and people overseas dictating American policy, because I don't think they really have a firm grasp on what it's like to be an American. And when you're American and you're patriotic, that doesn't mean that you're a white supremacist. That doesn't mean you support the KKK. That doesn't mean you're anti-feminist, or anti-women, right? I mean, I'm an anti-feminist, but I'm not anti-women. I'm very supportive of women. I think equality across the board. I'm egalitarian. I think people should have the equal rights no matter what color, shape, size, religion. No matter what you are, you should have the same opportunities. That's what America is founded upon. And I think we've lost sight of that. And I think that people that are protesting right now are protesting out of anger. that the fact that they didn't get their way, they're throwing a little temper tantrum. Okay, and I'm all for civil disobedience when it's justified. This isn't justified, people. These riots are not justified. These are actually have gone from peaceful protest, which I'm all for, right, to
Has it
actual
gone
riots,
like
and that's
third night
dangerous.
in a row as well, these riots?
Third nights in a row.
Wow.
Exactly.
Time has
This isn't
flown. I
peaceful
mean,
protests
think about
anymore.
it,
These
three
have
nights
actually turned
already.
to riots. Matter of fact, Obama was thinking about calling martial law in some sectors. I mean, this is what people have been scared of, and yet they always been saying, "Well, Trump's going to destroy America." No, you know what? The protesters, which are for Hillary, the ultra liberals, they're destroying America right now. They're destroying American property. They're putting lives in danger. That's the people we should be fearful of, not the American who wants to own a handgun because he wants the right to defend himself and his property. I had mentioned in a Facebook thing, and all of you guys didn't read it probably because you're not on my Facebook. Not all you guys are, but I had somebody break in the house the other day. I'm sitting here on the computer and somebody's rambling on my door, literally shaking it, asking, where's my woman? Where's my woman? I'm like, who is this person? And I was too scared to go out because I was like, I don't know who the fuck this person is. I finally, 10 minutes later, I opened the door and I find the guy coming out of my roommate's room in a towel, running out the door. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Come to find out he stole some money from the guy, from my roommate. My roommate's an avid hunter, has multiple weapons in his room, full arsenal. Had he been home, that guy would have been dead. And I would have been just fine with that. Because if they're on your property illegally, you don't know what the hell to expect. And I believe if somebody's in your property, you have a right to defend yourself with using deadly force. Now, granted, I think that you should have immediate life in danger, but to point a gun at somebody who's in your house illegally, I'm all for that. And if they threaten you, you can shoot them. I don't know why anybody thinks that that's some kind of weird thing for me to suggest. That is how I've always been. I've never hid my political beliefs. I've never hid my understanding of the Constitution. I never hid the fact that I believe people have the right to defend themselves. And when I have people that in Britain telling us how bad Americans are, how high crime is because of weapons, I don't think they understand that America is founded on the principle that we can defend ourselves against crime. And I think without guns, we'd have a much higher crime rate. Now, again, it is dependent upon different areas. Certain areas have higher crime rates than others. I get that. But you know what? The areas in Texas that have mandatory gun laws, ones that actually will issue a firearm when you move into the locality or the principality, they have the lowest of any assault or violent crimes. The lowest. Because if you know that somebody has a gun in their house, you're less likely to break into it. You're less likely to attack them. You're less likely to threaten them. So yes, weapons are a deterrent. There's no question about that. But I believe if you own a firearm, you should be allowed to point it at someone and protect yourselves in any conditions for you and your family. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. If you're not an American that doesn't agree with that, that's fine as well. I respect that. But don't tell me as an American that I can't own a firearm. I did my 6 years in the military. I had a federal licensed concealed weapons permit that I was able to carry around weapons because I was trained to do so. That is my right. And for somebody overseas to say that you cannot own a handgun or that you shouldn't be able to, I don't think that you understand what it's like to be an American, and I'm saddened for that. But it is what it is. I don't know what it's like to be a British person. I love British people. I have many British friends. I love my British friends. I love all of them. I love Rumpus. I love Fiona. I love Mark Anoya. I love you guys that live overseas. I think that you're the world, you guys. But you know what? You don't live in America. So you don't have to own a firearm. You don't want to. But if you do live in America, you have that right. If you are a established citizen, you have no felonies, and you're a responsible person. But anyways, that's my little rant for the day because of my Veterans Day again. I'll show off my little collection, which is incomplete. I'm missing two, I think, now. But I'm having a few beers. I've got General here. We're having a debate here at 3 o'clock, supposedly. I'm just waiting for Dr. Troy Lawrence, who's a chiropractor, to get back to me. He's going to be talking about geology and human chromosome number 2. We'll see if he shows up. But anyways, I'm going to open this hangout up. So anyways, hi, General. What'd you think? You agree, disagree? Because I don't care if you do or
I
not.
completely agree.
Finally,
yeah,
somebody does.
it's interesting. I mean, Australia is just to give a little bit of a reflective context. Australia is definitely multicultural, like how America is multicultural. It's just that we've had our ups and downs, and as far as the experiences we've had. Uh, some prime ministers, so the equivalent for president is a prime minister. So some prime ministers have open borders to the boat people from Indonesia. Relatively recent, we've basically learned the hard way, and we've had to like literally be very harsh now in regards to how to handle the boat people. In fact, if you remember the Muhammad movie, that was the 15-minute video that was released on YouTube that caused
Muhammad
riots.
Gandhi or like Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad, the Muslim prophet.
Mm.
It was called the Muhammad film or something.
No, I don't remember it.
Some ridiculous film. But anyway, it got a U.S. ambassador killed, as far as I recall, and there was huge riots, like just absolutely just outrageous riots in Sydney and Melbourne, and it's become, it's become a little bit of a problem, especially in the academia, in universities. There's definitely a mishandling of how to approach people, even in academia. I mean, when I see students, I see the white Australian. In fact, I see very few white Australians now. But whenever I do see them, they only hang around themselves. If I see the Arabs, only the Arabs will hang around themselves. The Asian communities.
There's a little it's self-imposed segregation there.
It's well, okay. It's sort of unnatural. I mean, you're meant to be in a quote unquote multicultural society, and yet you're not fitting that umbrella term.
Well, can I mention something about that real quick, General?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
About multiculturalism, because people don't understand my position here. When it comes to multiculturalism, multiculturalism has been a hijacked term. Originally, it was supposed to mean people that were coming into America because America is a melting pot, and I get that. I'm all for that. I believe in legal immigration. I don't care where you're from. I don't care who you are. You've got a clean record. Come on in. Join America. Be part of the home of the free and the brave. I'm totally pro that. Multiculturalism doesn't mean that you have a right to put your culture and your beliefs ahead of all other Americans. You have the right to express yourself. Don't get me wrong. But you need to assimilate. That's what America's about, assimilation.
Right. It's about cohesion. It's not
cohesion. It's fine too.
It's not cultural pluralism, though. Like, that's not what multiculturalism really is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a group of cultures coming together and some cohesion.
One culture.
Right.
The American culture.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. For cohesion to happen between different cultures.
Hi, Frank. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's funny is I'm so tired of these buzzwords. I invited my friend Bella. I don't think she's going to show up here, but eventually I'm going to get her in here. She's on my Facebook, and again, she is a very distinguished member of the community in Alaska. She's very well known up in Alaska. She's very popular. She's a beautiful, beautiful, sweet woman. And people are calling her and myself bigots because of our quote unquote support. Not so much for Trump, but against Hillary. Matter of fact, she voted for Hillary, but now she's sickened that she did because she sees, what's going on. But by people that supported Trump, you're not a bigot. You're not a racist. You're not supporting that. Granted, again, I will capitulate that he's probably sexist, and even if he was bigoted, I don't see it. But even if he was, we didn't vote for that. We didn't vote for that aspect, for the majority of the electoral college and the minority, the major minority, or the larger minority of the popular vote, because she made it by a popular vote by about 0.20%, about 200,000 votes. But it wasn't about racism. It wasn't about white pride. It wasn't about anything like that. It was about people wanting something new. People wanting to rebuke the establishment. That's all this election was about.
I don't know, man. I think it was a little bit like if you look at it through the eyes of the people who are proclaiming these things, Steve, right? If you look at it through their eyes, it is a little bit about that, because really what's happening is, after however many years it's been of people being called racist just by default, right? Just
No,
by
I hear that. Yes.
just by default, right? People aren't listening to that anymore. So
No,
people
you're
are
right.
gonna do whatever the hell they want to do anymore, despite the names they know that they're gonna get called anyway. Basically,
You're right. No, you're right. You know, and that's what I'm getting at. People that are throwing out these buzzwords like racist and bigot, that's why Trump won, because people are sick of that. People are sick of these buzzwords that if you don't agree with somebody politically, you're all of a sudden a bigot. You're all of a sudden a racist. And it diminishes the fact that there are people out there that are racist. And there are people out there that are bigoted. And guess what? I'm not one of them. And if you want to assume that I am, then you have no foundation for it, and I can't stop you from doing that. But that's absurd.
But see, that's the
It's
whole.
fucking absurd.
But see, that's the whole thing. Like, I'm tired. Like I'm tired of both me having to explain it, and then I'm also tired of having to listen to everybody else who happens to be white explain over and over again and plead with people over and over again how they're not racist. You know what? If you want to think I'm racist because of whatever view I have, political view or not, so be it. Fuck you then. Like, that is my stance on it. Like, I'm not gonna apologize for it anymore, and I'm not gonna reassure people that I'm not racist anymore.
Right.
If you want to believe that I'm racist, then go right on ahead.
You know, it's funny. It's funny, so because we see racism in our community. I mean, there are numerous people in this community we know are racist, and I'm not afraid to call them out. Dionysus, racist. Iron Nation, racist. Atheist, racist. These people are fucking racist, and there's probably misogynistic people out there as well that hate women. Probably a lot of them. You know what? But when you throw the terms around cavalier because you're not a feminist or you're not a social justice warrior, those terms lose any real meaning, right? I am against feminism. I'm against modern third wave feminism. Doesn't mean I'm not egalitarian. Doesn't mean I don't support women's rights. It doesn't mean I don't support lesbian, gay, transgender. I do support all that. But I don't support the modern people out there that are going out using scare tactics and vitriolic rhetoric to try to support their agenda. That's what I don't support.
And emotionally manipulative as well.
Very emotionally manipulative. And if you don't, if you don't agree with them, you're all of a sudden labeled, oh, you must be sexist. Oh, you must be racist.
Yeah.
That's why Trump won, people. Jews are sick of it.
Can I actually just share? Hold on. It's okay. It's live. There's a little clip. It's like 30 seconds long. I think that it explains it very well.
I can't play any videos in here.
Oh, you can't? All right.
I've already had like 5 copyright. Well,
I've been saying
4 copyright strikes.
Okay, there's an old clip.
It doesn't hurt my channel, but long story short, I don't make any monetization.
There's an old clip from Christopher Hitchens that he said, I think back in 2010. I thought it actually hit it pretty well. This is always going to be a bigger problem with the left than with the right, and this is the thing. On the left, there's this larger tendency to think that if you actually disagree in any way with the left, then you're doing it for the worst of reasons. If you have concerns about immigration, then you're labeled a racist. If you think that maybe free market economics work out pretty well in most cases, then you hate the poor. If you think that maybe a couple military interventions in our past were justified, then you're a warmonger. And of course, and you can explain the nuance. Say, well, look, I mean, I'm only saying maybe, I'm only just complaining about a few issues within our system. It doesn't mean I hate poor people. It doesn't mean, I want to, go to war with every goddamn country in the world. But you're always going to be hit with that label because there's always this hypersensitivity that just comes I'm not saying it's a problem just with the left. There's a problem with it on the right as well, but it's a bigger problem with the left.
No, I agree. Well,
I think right. I think that's what's happened is the so-called right, and I'll call it the so-called right in my opinion. There really isn't any right wing anymore. There's a half-ass right wing, in my opinion. When it comes in my political opinion, there's a liberal right wing, and then there's just an off the charts left wing. That's where we're at right now, and really what it's come down to is people on the quote unquote right have just learned that that's a successful manipulation tactic to use. So why wouldn't they go ahead and engage in their fair amount of phony outrage in order to get their way?
I'm glad you said that, because that's true. Because the right that I'm familiar with when I was growing up is not the right today. I'm not going to sit here and
the right today was the left that you grew up with, basically.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to front and tell you that not every single fucking Republican candidate that was up there for the primaries, I detested. I was like, there's no fucking way I would vote for any of these people. And I was raised conservative Republican. I am now shifted to moderate libertarian. Okay? But these were not candidates that were viable 20 years ago. People would have been like, what the fuck? This is not the conservative GOP. Do you agree?
Usually people say it's the other way around. Like
I think it's just all over the board anymore. I think it's just a roll of the dice. You never know who's going to really have conservative or liberal policies when it comes into play. That they've all but really smashed the meaning to bits of what it would mean to be on either side of the so-called political spectrum. For example, in my serious, honest opinion, Hillary Clinton was a neocon. She was just basically a neocon. She was a Republican basically by today's standards.
Let me ask you, man. You had posted, Saul, that that people who don't believe in the right to bear arms can't be reasoned with?
No, I just don't. Yeah, I don't think that most people who have a staunch belief that people shouldn't have the right to bear arms can. I don't think you can reason with it. I don't think that.
So how does that make me unreasonable? Because
No. What I'm saying is that when that other guy was saying that you were being unreasonable, I was saying that is because you didn't have any other choice. Basically, because people who don't believe in the right to bear arms usually just can't be reasoned with. You're not gonna convince them otherwise.
Oh, I think you worded it wrong. I think you said the people who believe they have a right to bear arms can't be reasoned with it.
Oh, I need to go fix my statement.
Yeah, check it out, because I think you worded. I thought that too, and I was like, this doesn't sound like Saul. But hey, you know what? I'll accept it as is. But I think you meant to say people that don't believe in the Second Amendment. And somebody had asked me, what's my reasoning?
That is what I meant.
Okay, you might want to fix that. People had asked me, what's my reasoning for the Second Amendment? My Second Amendment is very simple. I believe very staunchly that everybody that is legally entitled to should have the right to defend their property, and their livelihood and their family, and that means with a firearm. If you don't like it, that's fine. I get that. Don't own a gun, but don't tell me that I cannot, when I'm a law-abiding citizen who has gone through the qualifications to get a CWP, concealed weapons permit, to own a firearm.
Nah, you misread it, Steve. I said it correctly.
I
said people who don't believe in the right to bear arms.
Oh, all right. Can I just say I don't believe in it?
But can I give an argument?
And here's why. Your gun control is shit. And here's why. Because the sort of test that you need to do on somebody and the test we do over here, because you don't know how many forms and how many stuff you have to go for it. Now the thing is, you have enough mass shootings over there to show that the process of getting a gun. Now I'm not against the normal person getting a gun for protection or whatever, or just for target shooting or whatever. If they're doing hunting, but what I am against.
Where do you live?
Gary, it's not the law-abiding citizen going out there shooting people. It's people getting guns illegally. We're not talking about illegal guns, right? Do you understand the difference between illegal gun possession and legal gun possession?
Yes.
You don't find crimes being committed by legal gun possession. It's rare. No, you don't. Look at the numbers. It's very, very rare.
Columbine was caused by was legal gun possession.
Who? Can you guys hear me?
Columbine.
Yeah, but it was not. It was not. He did not have the right to have those firearms.
I know. You're trying to say that minors with guns.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have the right to fucking have those guns, Gary. Come on. That's absurd.
I think from what I remember, if I'm not correct, you can correct me.
No, you can't be a minor. You can't be a
minor and own firearms.
And go out and buy guns.
Wasn't it his dad's or something?
It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
That doesn't make
his dad was not the one going out committing the assaults.
But that still doesn't make it legal gun possession, though. That's not legal gun possession. Say for example, if you're a 12-year-old and you go and steal your dad's gun, that is not legal gun possession.
Yes, I don't. But I'm saying that shows that lack of responsibility. Now, the thing is that
it shows that some people are morons and they're not responsible enough to lock up their guns where their kids don't have access to them. Now I think that there should be heavy consequences for people who put people in that kind of position, but I don't think that the answer is to make sure that nobody can defend themselves. And I don't think that you get it really when it comes down to it in the grand scheme of things. This was never about safety. It was never about you being safe or the most amount of people in general being safe. It was about being free. It's about being guaranteed that you're going to be free no matter what. Give me liberty or give me death. It was meant to be free, and that if the government gets so out of hand that they become oppressive to their people, and this is the step further that I would probably take it than Steve says, he has the right to defend himself on a personal level. I think that we have the right to defend ourselves from the government if the government gets so out of hand that we can't handle it.
Right. I agree with that.
Well, that's the way the courts always interpreted it. I mean, we all know the history of the Second Amendment. We all understand it's for a well-regulated militia. We all understand it was before the time, of guns we have now, and that they had ammo depots back then, and that they wanted people to have individual ability to have firearm ownership where they didn't have to go to an ammo depot to get their gun in times of war or military unrest. That's what the principal thing was behind the Second Amendment. But the Supreme Court and other courts have dictated that, that it could be inferred other ways, that, the individual right to bear arms should not be abridged, that we have a right to carry a gun if we are licensed to do so. Now, I don't believe in unrestricted gun access. I don't believe that any idiot should go out and be able to carry a firearm.
Yeah, I don't either.
You have to have a background check. You have to have a firearm qualifications test. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Frank, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Like, do you see my argument in the side chat? Like, the way I'm saying it, the right to bear arms follows from the right of self-defense and the right to have property, right?
Right.
So you can
intrinsically
only
so, yes.
employ the arms because you have the right to defend yourself. The only end towards which you can employ the arms are either recreation or self-defense.
Correct.
You have the right
for self, family, or property, yes, or family.
Or as long as you have the right to property, and I think that's a natural right. It's unalienable. I own myself or something like that. There's various arguments. So long as you have the right to property, I can own something, and one of those things which I can own is a gun. Now, what can I use a gun for? Self-defense or recreation. So long as I have a right to self-defense and a right to recreation, which I think the right to self-defense is at least natural, and I don't know about recreation, then I have a right to bear arms.
Recreation is not an inalienable right in the Constitution.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, that's why I said.
But yeah,
I think right to self-defense is inalienable.
It is.
Right,
but get like the limitation on that. It's not like it's an unwarranted. It's not like an unrestricted implication. I have the right to own and employ arms, bear them, given there is no positive reason to restrict them. And there are positive reasons to restrict, but not completely eliminate my right to bear them. Like the restrictions aren't so severe that it literally eliminates traits to own and employ them. The restrictions are: am I sane? Am I of right mind? Am I old enough?
Yeah, I don't advocate unrestricted rights. I don't think anybody has unrestricted rights. Even freedom of speech, there's a restriction there. Come on, I got to echo.
Yeah, like in a movie theater.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we all have some kind of restriction. I don't remember who said it. I think it was Jefferson, but somebody said, you can't have 100% security and 100% freedom at the same time. There's a reason for that. We don't have unrestricted, inalienable rights that are 100% guaranteed across the board. No, we have to use them, judiciously. You don't have to lose them with some kind of respect to the understanding that, my rights end where your rights begin. Right. And I'm not going to infringe upon your rights, but don't infringe upon mine.
My right to swing the right to swing my fists at your nose or something like that. I
don't advocate violence. I'm not a violent person. I don't advocate violence.
I'm just quoting John Stuart Mill. He said the right to swing my fists. Well, I can do this, right? I'm not hurting anyone.
How many people in this room own a gun?
Well, I mean, I don't at the moment, but I have many gun ownerships in the past.
I don't own a gun. Right. I'm not interested in owning a gun. I have the right to. I believe that I have the right to do so, but I'm afraid of guns. So.
Right, but my point is that I can understand it. For example, if you want to get a pistol. What I can't understand is getting an AK-47. I think that should be illegal.
See, that's because right. So you're missing the whole point. So in that case where you don't get that, you're missing the whole point of why why the Second Amendment exists to begin with.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna like what you're basically saying is that never mind, like you're saying that there's no way that the government could ever get tyrannical enough for there to be like some kind of civil war or
and
some kind of war
not going to help you
within. And here you go, have this knife to bring to a gunfight. Like that's basically what you're saying in that case.
No,
you should be able to have. And if the military could have it, why can't you have it?
And that's my reasoning as well. That's my exact reason.
Well, there's a reason if you want me to give it. The military are trained professionals where you're not. Right, they're trained.
Oh, wait. Bullshit.
That's just
bullshit.
Hang
on, I want to address
this. They're trained to retain it.
Wait, no. Gary, hush. Wait a minute, dude. I served in the military. Okay. I had to qualify on I think it was a 9mm, 945, and rifle. Okay, but other than that, you don't really get much training. Okay, so just because you're in the military doesn't mean shit. There are far many more people that have ownership of firearms in the civilian sector. They're probably more trained than most military. However, I think Trump wants to change that. He just announced that he wants to overturn Bush's Bush 41's thing, where the military wasn't able to carry weapons on base or in recruiting centers, which I believe they should be able to do. I believe the military, they're called the armed services for a reason, that most of them should be able to carry armed weapons on or off base. I'm all for that.
Not only that, man, just to say that the army is allowed to have this, the government is allowed to have this, but the people aren't allowed to have that. Right? Like, you know how authoritarian that is.
Yeah, why should the violence have a monopoly on violence? Like,
right, but it's not a monopoly. It's about responsibility.
It is a monopoly.
Right, but they're trained how to maintain it, how to clean it.
No, they're Gary, bullshit. Bullshit. What? Only certain. If you're infantry, yes, but not all people in the military all of a sudden know how to
look at all the
clean a weapon or to service a weapon.
Look at all the footage coming out, like of the police misconduct that's come out over the last 10 years. And you mean to tell me here in the United States that the authority is they're the ones that are trained to do it best. Like they'll do it best, so that they should have the best weapons because they do it the best. And look at the evidence to the contrary of that.
Yeah,
but this is but there's so much rhetoric that I'm sick of. I just looked in the live feed, and I see things that are just so reprehensible to me that people are honestly promoting if there's some kind of valid argument. For example, somebody said, Trump wants the military to start shooting civilians if Steve agrees. I mean, you got to be out of your fucking mind to think that Trump wants to start shooting civilians, and I would agree with that. I mean, where do people make these leaps of asinine reasoning from?
No, again, it's not that we hate each other. We're just simply disagreeing about the subject.
But just think about how that clashes with what Gary's trying to say right now. Look at the sweet irony in that.
Yeah, it is kind of strange, isn't it?
Well, all right. Do you want to tell you how good control works in my country?
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, I can tell you how gun control works in my country if you want. Right, there's very few guns that a person can own. You have to own it at a gun lodge. You have to be registered. You have to go through.
Gary, have you ever shot a gun?
No.
Okay. Then you know what? Don't lecture me on gun rights and gun control.
No, I'm just telling you how gun control works here.
Steve, have you ever done an experiment in biology? Then you shouldn't lecture creationists about whether they're doing science.
That's that's an asinine.
That's thing. Not an asinine.
The biology is not guaranteed by the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is guaranteed my right to bear arms.
Okay, so let's change the subject. Just because, again, if we're going to go by personal experience, right, then we can't criticize anyone else based on personal.
Well, I don't think. No. That's completely false. That's a false analogy because he's telling people about gun control. And how to handle firearms when he's never experienced what it's like to even shoot a gun or to know what it's like to have it.
He's like saying that there's like this special group of people who are the best,
right?
That the government
and the military is not. Yeah, he said literally the military is more proficient in firearms. And I've been in the military, so I can speak from experience. That's not true, Sam. So I can point out that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. There are more civilians that are probably much more well-equipped to handle firearms than people in the military.
Okay,
But legislators make
can
that
anybody
law.
hear me? I'm just testing.
There's no requirement.
Yes, Di, we finally can hear you.
Good. Sorry. Go on, continue. Sorry, Sal. I was just.
You got in, Di. You might as well say something.
Well, I was gonna say, right. I was listening to Gary's British point of view. Gary, they're not British. These are Americans, guys. It literally says in their constitution the right to bear arms. I'm sorry. Look, I know people.
Di, you know what? I usually disagree with you like a motherfucker, but Jesus, you make sense right now.
No, I'm sorry, because I'm listening to Gary doing this whole neoliberal shit, right? And I'm sorry, dude. That's not the way Americans' constitutions work.
That's not what a neoliberal is, Steve.
He is.
You need to learn how to.
Sam.
You need to learn how to pare down what you're saying because you actually make.
All right. I will pare down, Sam. Bear with me, right?
I wouldn't use the term neoliberal, but the rest of it, I'm kind of.
Okay, all right. Well, fuck the neoliberal shit. Maybe that's completely different because I've just been watching Twitter. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Let's focus on the whole gun rights. The Second Amendment was wrote because of fucking militias in the United States, right? Let's get this shit straight. If you want to know the Constitution, at least read the fucking thing, or at least read the history. Now, that aside, America is not like fucking Europe. It just isn't. The reason why America is the special country is because it's not like Europe. That's why America is so fucking crazy, because they come up with this fucking crazy idea of for the people, by the people. If you look at history, no fucker ever said that, right? So this whole gun rights, and I know there's people who are like, well, guns kill people. Well, if you look at the laws in the United States, the states with the most aggressive gun laws have the most gun crime, which is fucking
no,
weird.
that's not actually true. Let's
take
can we
Chicago.
not get like a politics lesson from someone who does not really know what they're talking about? We've just gone down a road.
All right. Well,
so many things he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Let's not go down the whole.
I don't know, man. I would say
the reality is very simple.
Example of that, look at Chicago. You're
that was the point I was going to make.
You're going to say that he's wrong. I would say. I would say that Chicago. Yeah, I know. You look at Chicago, which I'm not very far away from. We're talking about
legal gun control as opposed to illegal gun control.
No, what we're saying is that
there has to be a distinction there.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's got nothing to do with law-abiding citizens have the right to bear arms, right? If you're going to portray America, okay, exactly right. So what? I'm agreeing with Americans here. So don't fucking slate me for this. I'm trying to say the Second Amendment has got fuck all to do with what Gary's saying. What Gary's trying to say. No, it's not, dude. We don't live in their country.
Let's see why it does. Right.
Can we stop listening to Tyranny?
Can I just say something? Right. The reason it does is because when the people wrote the Second Amendment, they couldn't have dreamed in their wildest dreams that we would invent semi-automatic and automatic weapons, could they? Because when they were using weapons, it was stuff like pistols that would take you.
When the Second Amendment was written, the fucking slaves weren't even free.
Can I finish this sentence without being interrupted? Right. They would fire muskets and pistols that would take you a minute to 2 minutes and would fire one shot. Now we have weapons that fire multiple shots in one clip. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have them. I'm saying that there's a responsibility with having them that you should, and a training that you should go through. I'm sorry.
Nobody's disagreeing with that. We've always suggested that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's flatly false.
People out there, there's people out there who use it who don't, and that's my point.
No, but it's a false dichotomy. You can't blame. Look, there's 300 million Americans. There's more guns in America than Americans, for a start.
That's in fact, statistically true, actually.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, America's a pretty non-violent place considering how much access they have to firearms, legally or otherwise. America
about the dumbest thing I've heard.
It's pretty safe. I mean, okay, yes, we all agree that
America is not a violent place. Yeah, right.
It's not.
No, America's really not. I mean, there are areas which are higher
going down since the mid '90s.
Yeah, I wouldn't say America is violent.
There's more violent crime.
There's more guns in America. Okay, there's been an increase of the production of guns, or there's an increase in the circulation of guns, but there's been a decrease in gun ownership since over the last 20 years.
And most gun-related assaults are not people committing crimes with them. I mean, as somebody points out, that a lot of them are suicidal or accidental. But people that are law-abiding citizens that own firearms legally are not the ones going out committing crimes. There's no stat in the world that shows that. They all point to the fact that these are not what law-abiding citizens
what you
do.
said is a contradiction. I mean, if you're law-abiding, you're not going out to commit crimes. I mean,
well, I mean, they don't all of a sudden become a non-law-abiding citizen, right? You don't have somebody, oh, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I have my concealed weapons permit. I, have a license to carry a firearm. I'm going to go commit a crime. That doesn't happen. Yeah. I mean, if it does, it's very, very, very rare.
It's minute.
I think all unplanned murders, especially domestic cases, probably resemble more what you're proposing there than not.
Well, also I'd say is that
they're actually not with firearms.
Deaths by firearms are through the roof in the United States compared with
suicides.
Compared with other,
the whole Second Amendment.
Most of them are suicides.
Okay, look, going to the Second Amendment and blaming the Second Amendment for a culture. Let's focus on what is the problem. It's a culture, right? There's certain people in America, poor, white, black, whatever their shit is. It's a cultural thing, right? Where they're trapped in a system that they sell drugs or whatever the fuck it is they do, and these people, yes, get recorded to sell crimes. That has nothing to do with the right to bear arms. This is a misconception. It's complete bullshit. And Gary,
a lot of people, let me ask you guys, because a lot of people keep bringing this up. I don't know why they bring this up. They keep bringing up that it has to do with a well-regulated militia.
Yes,
okay? Which has to do with a depot.
Those are actually in the words of the Second Amendment.
But how does the Supreme Court interpret that? The Supreme Court has interpreted that for individual rights. Okay, you cannot just go by the Constitution. You have to go by what has been precedent since then.
How should I interpret the 3/5 of a person clause?
Well, that's not something we have now, is it? Now we don't go by 3/5 of a person, but we do have the constitutional right to bear arms. And the regulated militia was only the fact they have individual gun ownership, so they didn't have to go to a depot to get a weapon in the case of an attack or an emergency. So which is the same thing they interpret to say that if the government becomes tyrannical, the individual person doesn't have to go to a depot owned by the military, which they're going to be fighting against.
Can we do away with this tyrannical government thing?
Well, it's very
I've been waiting pretty patiently.
I have a question. Okay, go ahead.
It's a terrible. Well, the first thing is, it's like, unless you're going to advocate that private citizens should be able to buy tanks and buy military, like any military technology, it's a pipe dream to really think that. Well, no, I'm not making a slippery slope. Let me finish the sentence. Unless you're going to argue that somehow private citizens should be able to get the kind of weaponry and tactical support that is available to the military, then that sort of like the whole against a tyrannical government thing is not really applicable anymore.
That's nonsense.
We've gotten to a point where private citizens will never be able to stand up to the military force.
Really? You haven't seen people on their own farms and their own land stand up to people trying to invade their property?
Yeah, that's not entirely true. I mean, okay, but if the mass, okay, but
when is that?
I'd love to hear this.
Let's give up because we've lost. Yeah, let's all be a bunch of idiots because they've got tanks. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's not what I said.
No, you just right. Let's give up because they've got tanks and we got.
One sec. Point of order. Point of order. Sty, do you have TomTom blocked? Sty?
I've got nobody blocked in this room. Nobody.
Somebody keeps blocking TomTom, and I don't know who the hell it is because
I haven't got Tom blocked. No.
Hey guys,
it's not me.
TomTom, maybe go to each person because I don't know who keeps blocking.
Tom, it's not me, dude. Just saying.
Who's TomTom?
TomTom 34B.
I don't know who he is. Don't even know who it is.
Yeah, he doesn't know who he is.
It's not me.
Yeah, he's been trying to figure out who he is for years.
Hey, I would just check just to make sure.
Could I address 2 points made in the Hangout?
Sure.
Oh, okay. The first point is that the Second Amendment only applies to a well-regulated militia.
No, it doesn't. Where do you get that from? Bullshit.
No, wait. I actually
Steve, you've got to stop doing it. I want to hear what he has to say.
Steve has turned into a right winger.
No, because it's not true.
You're no better than Nephilim Free or any of the other.
No, it's just not true.
Yeah, you're not.
Max, finish your statement, but that's not true.
But Steve,
no. That's what I'm trying to respond to. It's the Second Amendment when it says militia or well-regulated militia. It's speaking to the general populace, not about, a special government instituted military. There's a distinction between the two.
Yeah, and that's why.
Wait. Hey, I'm not done.
Hang on, Sty.
Why are read George Mason? If you read George,
Max. I'm sorry.
one of the founding fathers, George Mason, actually has a pretty succinct quote on this, where he says, "Who is the militia? It is the whole population minus a few government servants." Something about that. The second thing to address is that, oh, well, back in those days, the Second Amendment only addressed muskets, things you'd have to load. Well, the First Amendment only addressed letters. It doesn't mean that computers can now be regulated by the government, or telephones or the like. It keeps up with modern innovations. And furthermore, if I might add, there were
I'm agreeing with you.
There were actually machine guns at the time that could fire rounds. It wasn't just muskets. And those are things I could actually find historically. I don't have them on hand, but I can get you links.
The right to bear arms was put in the Constitution because of slavery, and that's a fact. To uphold the militia in the South. Everybody with a brain should know.
No, it wasn't.
No, it's the truth.
But I do agree with Max.
But the right to bear arms.
Let's assume that
all the time. Like that was really.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, not at all. Actually,
but that's got nothing to do
I don't
with
agree
what
either.
Gary was saying about today's right to bear arms. Look, if you got the right to bear arms, as exactly what Steve said, the majority of people in the United States, given how many guns they are in the United States, are law-abiding citizens. If the United States was so crazy, there'd be a lot more deaths. There's more knife crime in the United Kingdom per capita than in the United States. Gary doesn't mention that, though. That's a fact.
Also,
stating something is a fact doesn't make it a fact.
Yeah.
You're just pretending that it isn't one, apparently.
I'm just pretending because you're just saying, making unsupported claims.
It's been released by the United Kingdom government on statistics of violence. In regards to violence with knife crime, per capita, the United Kingdom is more violent than the United States. Go and look at it. The ONS, for instance.
Apples and oranges.
But the reality is this. The reality is this. If you don't want to own a firearm, don't own a firearm.
Exactly.
But don't tell me that I can't.
Nobody's telling you can't.
No, I've actually had people. No, Brenda, I actually have people said, you know what? Americans need to get rid of their handguns. You should advocate for getting rid of your handguns.
I don't think that's the answer to that.
Opinion. What is that opinion? That's not some government telling you to do it. That's
of course. No. I'm saying it's individual opinion. Of course, it's not the government. I'm saying is that if they think the government's going to be able to come into America and anybody who gets elected to take away people's firearms, that's not going to happen.
So you're making
another thing to address. That was actually
it's a sweeping generalization over an opinion.
That was,
he's saying he heard somebody say something stupid.
No,
so
somebody told
everybody,
me that. No.
So everybody,
people are saying this to me, and I'm telling you. No, people are saying this to me, and I'm telling you that
control must agree with this person.
No.
One at a time, please.
Well,
one at a time, because someone.
Very simple.
This is a lot like trying to talk to true empiricism.
Okay, you know what? Stop with. Okay, first of all, hang on. Stop with this fucking comparison to the CCP. We have arguments all the time.
Because I see no difference in your behavior.
Brenda, I'm really getting tired of people who disagree with somebody all of a sudden jumping to, oh, you're being like Ronnie. You're being like True. You're being like G-Man. Stop that. That doesn't help for the actual argumentation. If you have a valid argument, present it. But don't sit there and tell me I'm being anything like Ronnie.
Well, then stop talking over people then.
Yeah.
We're having a discussion. Talking over what happened.
Okay. There's
now
a
all of a
couple
sudden
of things. Wait. Someone needs to have mod powers besides Steve.
Go ahead, Sam.
Because I've just been listening, and I can't make out heads or tails what people are talking about because you're all yelling over each other. And if Brenda's making that comparison, I understand that invokes an emotional response in you, Steve. But you got to also look in the mirror about how you're behaving.
Well, I can say things about, but you know what? I can use it against anybody.
For Brenda.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's irrelevant.
Because I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Hey,
again.
Steve.
I can fuck off if that's really what you want me to do, and I will. Because I'm not going to waste my time.
I would like you to fuck off because you're just procrastinating. I didn't say shit and you used my fucking name. I just literally said in the side chat, I've muted myself so no one gets confused.
I'm not comparing Sty or Brenda to anybody in the CCP or you or anybody else. I haven't made any such comparison whatsoever.
Hey, Steve. Steve, you're probably a racist. Well,
I know. I'm a homophobic, racist bigot at this point. Yes,
you know what?
So most
just let
people
Brenda finish what she has to say, and then we can move on. Brenda?
So most people who want to increase regulations on gun control want increased background checks and increase safety issues. and they want manufacturers to include things like electronic identifications. There's some very simple technology that, well, it's not simple, that would disallow anybody but the owner from firing a gun, for example. They want unregulated exchanges to become more regulated, so that they want bulk straw man purchases to be, but there are rules, there are loopholes around it. There are loopholes around this. They want tighter. They want them
they
tighter.
should be tighter. But Brenda, these are already things that are already out there. These are not new legislation.
Well, that's what most of the people that I'm aware of who are advocating for these things want.
No,
I'm not
they
seeing
don't.
the problem.
They want new legislation, and that's why I'm saying is most people, like Trump included, wants to fix the existing legislation.
Yeah, okay. What I would say is you're trying to put Steve in this kind of like RNC/fucking NRA bracket, and he's not. Most Americans would agree with Steve. Most Republicans who own
actually, I think
pro-amendment would agree with everything you just said, Brenda. The problem is the political establishment of the United States don't work the way people think. And
there's a snowball's chance in hell that any kind of restrictions on gun ownership or use or anything is going to get passed.
Come on, don't be.
But we're not talking about restriction. We're talking about.
That's not going to happen in the next 4 years.
Yeah, we're not talking about restriction. I don't believe in restricting people's gun rights. I believe, like you, Brenda, I believe that people should have. To qualify, you have to go through courses. I believe that.
I think there's some people that shouldn't have them.
Well,
people who are severely mentally ill.
Of course. But that's actually on the books too. Those are laws that we need to enforce.
Been on there for a long time.
Well, they're not on the books because so many mentally ill people get a hold of guns, and it's still the same problems that no one has solved over the decades of people claiming we should solve it.
The NRA actually has pushed for that as well. Just to address some points being mentioned about handguns. You know, Steve's mentioned about how I want to take away handguns. Well, there has actually been procedures on the books that have pushed for that. In Washington, for example, there was actually a handgun ban. And what was it that overturned it? It was the case of Heller versus DC in the Supreme Court, where 5-4 majority decided that it was unconstitutional because forcing people to store away guns from use and not allowing the most common type of firearm was seen as a violation of the right to the common defense, which is what the Second Amendment is based on. The gun is the most common defense you can have, and it's not based on. It wasn't to have militias in the South to fight against the slaves. I'm not done. I didn't finish yet. It actually has its precedents from English common law, and gun rights were considered a law at that time as well.
Fuck off.
No, that's true.
No, it's not true at all.
Yes, it is, and I can
no, it's not. No, it's not.
So
I don't know what fucking Bible
I have a question.
From a Supreme Court decision all the way back to the Constitution, I think there are people that disagree with the Heller decision and would like to see it repealed in some way through the legislature.
I have a question about the Heller decision.
Sure.
What was Scalia's ruling in the Heller decision about the right of people to own firearms? What did he rule? What did he say in his decision about that?
He sided with the majority and ruled it was unconstitutional.
But what did he say about people's rights, general rights to own firearms? Did he say that people have the right to own any gun?
He said they had the right to own. He said in this case it was unconstitutional because the handgun was the most common gun and thus the most common. Thus, the key to the most common defense. Something like that.
Since you don't want to answer the question, I'll answer it for you. He said people do not have the right generally to own any firearm they wish.
Right to gift.
Scalia in the Heller decision ruled that people do not have the right to own any firearm.
Yeah, it's a right given by the
Constitution. And he was actually considering severely restricting the types of firearms that a person could own legally.
Yeah, right. I was addressing only handguns. not any gun or general firearm. If you're going to accuse other people of being like Nephilim free, he strawmans a lot, so I'd suggest avoiding that.
No, but I don't think the point. I mean, the point of this discussion, I hope, was, do Americans have the right to bear arms? I think everybody would agree yes, but then how is that implemented would be the problem.
Well, there's not unconditional, and there are some people that advocate, you have a right to own an RPG or a right to own a tank. I don't agree with that, right? Yeah. I believe that home protection, for firearms includes any kind of rifle, assault or non-assault rifle, or semi-automatic or automatic. I am fine with that. No problem. Do I think it matters if you have a 15-round clip or a 24 high-capacity mag? No, it makes no difference.
I think those should be. Those should be restricted.
The issue. That is the problem.
I can kill 15 people with a fucking spoon. And you're gonna whine about
that's not the problem.
16, please.
People are still worried about the mag capacity.
But trust me, I'll kill as many people.
No, you actually won't, Sty. You'll be. No, you won't.
Can I just say something?
You'll get wrestled down before you get to the second person.
Brendan, do you think people should not own guns in general?
Who's that?
I don't know. In general, I don't care about people owning, for instance, hunting guns, hunting rifles, and possibly, handguns for personal use and stuff.
That means the people entitled to bear arms.
I don't think people should be carrying around military-style automatic or semi-automatic rifles.
You know what semi-automatic even is?
There's no military grade. Hold on, Max. There is no military grade weapon you can buy. Literally, there isn't. This is the misconception. No, there isn't. You have to modify any commercial gun.
No, you can buy an AK-47 or AR-15 and modify them, and not that problem.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying.
It's not hard to modify.
You can't buy one, but you can modify.
You technically legally can't buy what's called a modified fully automatic. But you can get a kit.
Don't sell M16s.
And you can justify it. We all know that's not hard to do. You can make any semi-automatic into a full automatic with relatively ease.
It's not hard if you know what you're talking about with guns, but if you're just the average Joe, well, the average Joe wants to just be protected because that's the culture which you live in. It's just the way shit is.
Right. Can I just make a point? Because the thing is like, look what happened in the UK when Dublin happened.
Everybody panicked. Everybody panicked.
What happened in the UK? What?
He's talking about something that happened in the UK where a guy in Scotland killed a bunch of kids with a certain firearm, and then the government banned the firearm. But he's trying to point out that it's still legal to buy firearms in the UK. This guy was a fucking nutcase. He used the laws that were there and basically went fucking crazy. So that means he spoiled the fact that everybody else could use the firearm. That never went crazy for like ever.
Right, but the point I'm making is that there's certain weapons that people shouldn't be able to own because they have no use.
No, it's because one crazy person went mental. You're saying that everybody else is mental.
It's just because Gary, what it comes down to is that you just refuse to acknowledge the use. Like there is a use in it. Yeah, there is a use. You just refuse the use. No. I'm not talking about pistols. I'm talking about something like an M16, right? Has no use to you, because in your mind it couldn't have a use for whatever reason.
Just the one who likes guns, who just shoots fucking.
No. It's not even that. It's use. If somebody wants to stockpile a bunch of M16s, for example,
good for them.
Its use would be just in case.
Yeah, but they're not harming anybody.
Horrible happen. Like, for example, if Trump was actually this like evil, sinister person who's going to lead us into hell, right? And right. Okay, Brenda. All right. Well, since the law is written how it is, then if and this is the great irony, and it like you guys could have your communist revolution right now. If you wanted to acknowledge the Second Amendment rights, but you could.
If something resembling an argument.
Let me ask you.
The argument I put forward is that certain weapons
If you think the government's that tyrannical and oppressive,
you got the right to shoot them.
That a mass majority of the population, if the mass majority of the population thinks that the government is that oppressive that it's worth getting up and fighting over it.
According to you, that's allowed, isn't it?
Yes, it's
yes, it is allowed.
Yes,
that's absolutely allowed.
You know what's funny is, Brenda, not only is it allowed, but the forefathers recommended it. They said at certain points there would be a cause for this. They said that every couple hundred years that there would be a reason for the civilians to overturn the government. Now, I don't believe that.
So you believe that because I dislike the outcome of the election, I have the right to murder U.S. officials.
No.
That's what you just said.
What I'm saying is that if it were actually true, and the mass majority of the population thought it was just unbearable.
Yeah.
Right. Then you do have the right to organize, arm yourself, and protect yourself from a government that's going to come in and put acts of violence on you that violate your rights. Yes, you have the right to do that.
I'm saying I don't have that right.
Well,
I think you do. You don't exercise it.
No, you do. No, you do have that right.
Exactly.
No, you don't have that right. You don't have that right on a personal level. You're right. You don't have the right to go out and be like Timothy McVeigh. You're right. You don't have that. You don't have that right. But if like I said,
level either. Like I said, social level either. No,
you don't. Hang on. You guys are talking over each other now. You guys are talking over each other.
If the situation was right.
Hang on, so. Brenda, would you ever own a firearm, Brenda?
I have no reason to. No.
Okay. Do you advocate that the law-abiding citizens, accordance to the Second Amendment, shouldn't be allowed to own a firearm?
No, I don't.
Okay. Then I don't see the issue. I don't see why we're actually squabbling.
Well, what you're talking about overthrowing a democratically elected government.
We have not mentioned anything about the election I'm not advocating overthrowing anything.
No, that's the whole.
You weren't, but Dos Kek was.
He wasn't.
Let me clarify. I'm saying when the government becomes tyrannical and is no longer democratic, we're allowed to overthrow it at that point. That's the whole friggin' point of it.
But that's been there since the beginning of time. That's why they put it in there.
Our forefathers came over here and decided to get away, and decided to get away from what they viewed as a tyrannical monarchy, and they fought to do it. Yes. And the Second Amendment guarantees that if this government morphs into some kind of abomination of the sort, that we're allowed to do it again. That's what it's about.
Well, I will say that's a myth of
no, Stein. That is not. No, wait a minute, Stein. That is what Solomon said is spot on. Gospel. He
was up until that point where he doesn't understand that there was slave owners in the United States. I'm sorry.
It wasn't slave owners. It was the fact that we could be bold.
I'm not against
tyrannical government and
slave owners in Britain. There were slave owners in Britain.
Hold on a minute. I'm not against the Second Amendment. Just hear me out here. What I'm trying to say is, in the day, right, you got to understand where these guys are coming from, right? They have to organize a union. And these people literally had the power, and they owned slaves. And the slave owners in the South were like, well, how the fuck are we supposed to control these black guys who have got the right to vote under Lincoln, right? So they were conflicted. And the Second Amendment, although it is derived, I guess, from a conflict of interest in regards to slavery, it still states that the American people have the right to form a militia. It does say that, literally. And you can't argue whether you like it or not, dude. That's the truth. So for all the people who cry about Americans and their fucking crazy gun laws, it literally is written there. It says American people have the right to bear arms. Now, whether you find that, well, should they have M16s or shit, is a non-point. The fact is, do I think Steve in his constituency has the right to defend himself? It says that in his constitution? Yes.
We are all confused.
I'm sorry, Gary. I know you're English, Gary, but that's
the slavery angle is like the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
No, it's not. It's not weird.
I'm not sure about that either.
Don't understand.
I'm not going to give you that one.
I'm trying to put it in context with people who don't understand that It's literally a part of historical fact. You can't take away from the fact that this is how America came to be. America is a special country because of its actual part in history. They came from a European fucking class that decided to go to a country and just go against it.
Stizer, can you double check that you don't have TomTom34B blocked? And by the way, I just got in touch with Dr.
I will
Troy Lawrence.
I don't. The only people that I block are people that like I get spam from.
Okay, I'm going to
double check. Everybody double check.
Okay, I'm going to check right now. What's his name? What's his name? Tom what?
TomTom34B. I've just got in touch with Dr. Troy Lawrence. I've asked him to give us a few minutes, and then
that's what it says.
We'll jump into the discussion with Han Solo. Sam, do you want to be a part of that with Dr. Troy Lawrence? Because
about what? I don't even know what the subject is.
He wants to try to defend Tompkins' work.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to try and figure this out.
That'll probably be in about 30 minutes. I've asked him to kind of postpone a little bit because
what specifically about Tompkins' work?
Have you did I send you some of the shit that
okay, clearly I'm not clearly I'm not privy on it, so bring me back up to speed.
He's a chiropractor, and a lot of what he's wrote about
in quotes. Then.
Yeah. He wrote a lot about geology, but he kind of wants to talk about genetic entropy more than anything else. Stanford's genetic entropy and mutation loads. Rumpus has been familiarizing himself with it. Can
I just say,
Christopher's going to join us.
Isn't even in my circles.
Well, hang on a second. Christopher's going to join us, but I'm kind of asking if he can kind of postpone it for a few minutes while we resolve this. He said
I can join, but I got shit I'm doing later. So
Christopher and Rumpus and
so like what time?
General.
30 minutes.
Probably within 30 minutes.
I'm asking Steve, Sty. Like this is not helping.
Probably within 30 minutes.
So just trying to help this, Sam. Don't be so angry, dude.
I'm not angry.
Christopher says make sure to Steve Brown. Yes, I will invite Steve Brown, Christopher. I'm fine with that.
Come on, Sam. Sheesh.
Not mad, Sty. You're just annoying.
Well, that's fine. So are you.
But here's the thing. This all boils down to very simple things. Whether you agree or don't agree, the Constitution does give us the right to bear arms. Period.
Yep, it does. And that's what I was trying to explain to my British friend over here.
For the illicit purpose of defending ourselves against our own government. That's
one of the things.
You mean explicit, that is not illicit.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Yes, thank you.
No,
for mostly that purpose. Because
I can't believe I'm defending America. Wow.
And I can't believe you're defending a bullshit law.
It's not bullshit. It's in the Constitution. It's not bullshit, dude. You can't be up your own ass and go.
It's funny. A lot of people really want to bash the Americans because we like our weapons.
No,
I'm not.
I get that. I get that. A lot of people overseas don't. They're not used to have. They've never been around firearms, right? They never grew up with them. They don't know what it's like to have firearms in the home.
I don't think that's
that.
I think they just don't understand history. I don't think they get the point why Americans have that law.
We like our weapons. We like our property. We like we're greedy bastards who like to have the most of the fruit of our labor. No, I'm just saying this is like the perception.
Misconception, right?
This is like right. This is the perception that a lot of people have, right? Like, and we love our personal space. Like, like on a personal level, like a difference between like some different types of like Europeans, for example, and Americans.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
We have a big bubble of me around us. Like that's.
I don't know.
In comparison to a lot of people.
To be fair to someone who likes history,
part's actually kind of a.
No, to be fair to Americans, I think that's fair. I think you should have a big bubble of me because America is a historic nation. I mean, I don't know anybody who reads a history book and just go, "Oh fuck, we created America somehow." I mean, that place is famous not because it's like got loads of nuclear weapons or some shit. I mean, if you look at the historical context of America versus Europe, shit, that's a breath of fresh air. And for Gary to just like whimsically say, well, because we're so-called civilized, in Europe, it's pathetic.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that American gun laws are necessarily bad. I'm saying that the 16th Amendment giving everybody a gun is wrong because there's people who who lack the responsibility of how to properly.
Less people die in places like less people are likely to be killed in places where everybody has guns, though. For in situations where there are mass shootings, if there
Mexico.
in situations where there are mass shootings here, right? If there were some kind of as to who was it? You, Gary, put it, some trained professional on the premise who was allowed to have a gun. You know how less catastrophic those situations might have been. Those are that's the more common sense way we need to regulate things around safety. And when it comes to guns, let's let one of the school officials at every school have a gun on the premise in case somebody. Why not? Why not?
I agree.
Oh,
I think
not?
there should be weapons on the premise.
Yeah, guns around children. Yeah.
And why not? In a safe in his office.
No, I don't believe in arming teachers
to be able to go what to do. No, I'm talking about the principal.
Arm the teachers as well.
The principal or something like that.
No. Teachers are not combatants. Teachers should not be armed unless they're private citizens.
No, other staff.
But other staff that are security, yes, arm them. I got no issue with that.
No, the fucking teacher should be on. Look, if you're
gonna,
because look, right, let's not go bullshit here. If you're gonna say the right to bear arms means that everybody, citizen has a right to bear arms.
No, that's nothing to do with the right to bear arms. That's common sense.
How am I going to defend myself against that angry 15-year-old?
If you don't pull a weapon on an angry 15-year-old.
Because I get listen, they're going to pull it on me.
No, you don't pull a weapon on an angry 15-year-old.
You know what? There was a case the
15-year-old's going to pull it on me, and that's the problem. They're going to pull it on me. I've got no reason to pull it on them, but they're going to pull it on me.
It's making me wish I lived in Liverpool and owned a gun so I could shoot Sty right now.
I
I'm not really following you here because
I would hand him the gun too.
Yeah, you probably.
What was the guy's name? I think the guy's name was Chris Mentz. You could look that guy up, if you remember that guy, that guy. That was he was like a former Marine or something like that, and he was present at one of the mass shootings somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but he didn't even have a gun, and instead of just sitting there, he bum rushed the guy and got shot 7 times or something. That probably saved a bunch of lives and lived, just because he fought back. No, he didn't even have to have a gun. Just because he fought back, he was able to live and not be executed. And
well, I would say,
is there an argument in that?
Well, no, I think Well, the big thing that I would say is there's two.
Yeah, the argument is as far as
Saul, hang on. Sam was talking. Go ahead, Sam.
I mean, I think that the major point should be. I mean, I think for the the issue that I see from most of the stuff that I've read is that a lot of the big problems are with enforcement, right? The executive branch underfunds and underenforces a lot of the stuff that already exists. There's some loopholes that need to be tied up. But for the most part, sensible gun control is well within reach just by virtue of the fact it's pretty much almost in place.
It's already the law.
But But the issue is, of course, enforcement, which is one part of this is why we have 3 branches of government. The legislative can't do anything if if it isn't upheld by both the judiciary and the executive branches. And so that's number one that we can put a pin in. The second thing is it's easy to construct any hypothetical or even actual scenario that works. I mean, the fundamental thing comes down to that when it comes to self-defense, if you want to talk about a practical measure, guns are not necessarily that practical because you need to simulate the stress of those types of situations. As someone who's a fan of martial arts and who constantly hears the debate of what's practical martial arts and what's not practical martial arts in the guise of self-defense, it's complete bullshit. Because I can concoct any situation where any gun law or any defense notion is invalid because I've arbitrarily concocted it. Like, what happens when a Golden Gloves boxer with All-American Wrestling who happens to know what a Green Beret could do? What happens when you encounter that guy? I think that we should stay away from hypotheticals because these edge cases can be.
No, I would totally.
Yeah, no, I'm hang on. So I have to agree with Sam with one caveat that the gun is a great equalizer, right? You don't have to go with a lot of martial arts training. If you know how to fire fire.
I'm going to agree.
I agree with Sam on that.
Well, I don't think it's about martial arts training though.
Where
Steve.
It's like that Indiana
Steve, can I butt in for a sec?
Yes. Shh. Roof is speaking.
Welcome back. Is it 3 p.m. over there?
It's what the fuck o'clock. No one cares. Go on, speak, Roof.
It is. What's happened to Dr. Lawrence?
I told him he'll postpone in a few minutes while we resolve this. He's happy to wait. We'll be giving him this in about 30 minutes or so.
Okay, I just
hang on. Time out, man.
I'll be
Dr.
around.
Troy and probably Paul will be joining us. I know Christopher will be. You will probably. Sam said he will.
Hopefully. Yep.
Troy seems like a decent guy. I don't want to dogpile him. I want to more moderate. I don't want to get involved in this conversation. I want to more moderate while you guys discuss things with him. I know he didn't get back to you, but he seems pretty decent. I'm not going to lie. He seems like an okay guy. So I don't want to let it come across that he's some kind of weird fanatical type dude. Okay.
Don't lie.
Okay. I'll be around. I'll go mute now.
So give me about 30 minutes, and so he's ready. He's ready to go. We're just gonna to suss this out a little bit more.
Okay, I didn't seriously mean to talk over Bendy. I wanted to agree with Sam in terms of kung fu or karate, whichever one you want to talk about.
He's Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
No, hold on. Yeah, well, whatever. The best form of defense in regards to how you understand, the best way to stop a conflict is not to engage in one, right? So, I think guns are guns. Well, listen to me very carefully. No, hold on. Wait, listen. Seriously, Sam will understand this if he bothered to go and learn jiu-jitsu or karate, right? What they teach you is self-defense, right? You're not supposed to use it as an offensive weapon, right? But what you're supposed to do is use it as, a weapon if someone's attacking you, right? But what I'm saying is the reason why Americans or people in general use guns is because they fear something, right? And you can't take the fear out of society in regards to the way we live, right? That's just utopian bullshit, right? So America has an affiliation with protection, right? And you can't really, like Gary's saying, well, it's fucking stupid. Yeah, but Gary, you don't live in a country where other people have guns, right? In the United Kingdom, it's okay to say that because nobody has guns. But they all have knives, right? And shit. And we know what happens with knives. Like the guys who killed Lee Rigby, the terrorists, right? They didn't go around shooting Lee Rigby. They literally cut him up in the street with knives because it's a lot more accessible, right? So our knife laws, right, represent the reflection that we don't have guns. That's true, right? It might be okay in the sense of statistics for guns, right? But per capita, we kill more people with knives than Americans do.
Yes,
okay?
I know that.
It's a fact.
Yes, I know that.
So you can't really blame the Second Amendment for the culture in which we live in. I don't want to make Americans feel like I'm saying having guns is great, because I don't think we should have them. Right? I'm anti-gun in that regard, but you can't take away the facts of the history. The history says, they're entitled to use guns, or at least carry them in self-defense.
Right. I understand why the law's there. I really do. And look, I have no problem with somebody having a gun for protection. That is perfectly fine. That's perfectly reasonable. Or if they want to go hunt something, that's fine as well.
Of course.
What I'm against is somebody having a weapon that has no practical use outside of that. That's what I'm against.
Because you don't acknowledge. Again, I'll go back to you don't acknowledge the other practical use that it would serve. That Americans do acknowledge. The insure it'd be like an insurance policy in case we had something that was like tantamount of a communist revolution over here in the United States. Like it would be an insurance policy against having some regime.
Tyranny.
Like some I
know people say Trump's bad,
or some regime overthrow our government and it be like a dictatorship for us to be able to fight against that. So that is the other reason for you to have something bigger than, like, say, a shotgun or a pistol or something like that, is to fight against
M16.
Is to have the means to fight against that.
Yeah. I mean, I know it sounds strange in this day and age because people live in a bubble and
because people can't.
Governments, well, people think that it's
they can't believe that it could ever happen.
Exactly
right,
and that's the that is the entire flaw of like life in the sense of if you read history, like people have gone, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. Oh fuck, he gassed 2 million people. No. This shit can happen. It's like, think of all the Trump supporters right now who are sat there, cleaning their guns and shit and happy. Like, that guy might turn out to piss them off. And it might be the Trump supporters who got it wrong, who are the same people who are going to shoot that motherfucker to defend your shit. You don't know, dude. I mean, seriously, it's like history is so fucking bent on craziness anyway. Like, I think America is the land of opportunity, but I think America's political system has fucked over the honest, genuine reason why these people wrote the Bill of Rights and shit. I just think it's been corrupted, and that happens over time. I still think America is the beacon of light in the world. It's just been fucked over by money. And I can say that about my own country.
Yeah,
but America more so.
It's the entire West. It's not just America.
We've been
fucked. It's the same. It's the whole the situation, like the stranglehold, the trend of governments putting their feet at the throats of the common man.
Could you cite an example?
Is like I think it's like a whole Western trend instead of just the United States.
It's the Western winter.
Could you cite an example of that?
Yeah,
please?
Well, what I would say is that it's a uniquely American thing because of our election, or the way that our election cycle works. I mean, you look at how much longer. If you look at how much longer. Wait, what's the best determinant of whether a candidate wins a seat for a national office in this country? It's money, and we also have the longest. We also have like some of the loosest, election laws, and we also have a system that
is rigged
because of the. I'm in the middle of a sentence, Sty.
You're extremely rude, Sty.
Yeah, the issue becomes is that our presidential campaign season lasted about 18 months, right? That's outrageous when you compare. If you talk to someone like, let's say, I was having this conversation with a friend who's from Spain. Their election season lasts like 4 months or 5 months, at least the time I was talking to them. That has an enormous effect because the incentive is you need to get a lot of money. And if that's the incentive, well, then what's going to happen? Well, it's going to lead to a more corporatized system.
Our last election went for about 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas ours lasts so long, and when you're talking about something that is so costly, where the best predictor is money, that lasts forever, well, I don't think it's a fucking mystery as to why our system is so ruled by money. It's a very uniquely American thing.
Money lost. It's funny that you should say that because money lost this election. Money lost this election. Like it's just hilarious.
Clinton did have more in her.
To be fair, this
war
is an
chest than
anecdotal.
Trump. Yes.
I think that's a misconception. That's all.
No,
right.
One
anecdote overthrows a statistical trend.
So you're saying that's only America that bribes fucking corporations?
No, that's not what I said. I said that the unique case with America is that our elections last so long.
True.
We spend way more money on our elections than any other country. Since we spend more money on the elections, that means that people need to consult with corporations in order to get money. It's not some grand conspiracy. It's really just.
I never said it was, dude.
A lot of it's our fault that we're addicted to watching this election cycle.
No, I would say that. I would say that it's America's fault that they are too wrapped up in that money makes the world go round. I know that sounds like very humanitarian shit, but it's the truth. The reason why people don't spend as much money in other countries is because they know that other countries will probably revolt at the very fact of you enacting some bullshit law.
But
look
even
at France always go crazy when there's someone even saying remotely that you're going to work more than 40 hours a week. They're like, what? No, I'm not. And they go on strike. In America, it's fucking, oh, well, you're a fucking, I don't know, liberal or something.
Okay. What it came down to be was very simple. you had two sides of in America. Some people thought that Hillary was supposed to be the person to shake up the status quo, but yet thought of her as the status quo, that she was supposed to be the liberal savior. And other people thought that Trump was the person to come in and actually adhere to the Constitution and promote the things that have established values. It was a different mindset between both political parties.
Neither of those characterizations are true. I don't think most people.
I think both of them are true.
Hillary
absurd.
was going to be
completely absurd. Yes, you're right.
I mean, I don't think most people thought that Hillary was. I mean,
in her camp, yes.
Hillary.
No
one really thought she was going to change, but the real thing behind her was, at least she's competent and they'll stay within reason. This was the reasoning behind those people. With Trump, it was a very much a huge, anti-establishment type of feel. Like I had people who literally could not outline, like if I asked them a single stance for Trump, they couldn't outline like what. Because it's quite simple. Also, part of it is he doesn't have a coherent stance.
Right, like talk about not wanting to bring in like anecdotal evidence. It's like now you're saying I know a guy who.
I didn't say I know a guy.
I know liberals who don't. I know liberals who don't understand the things that they promote as well.
I'll give Sam this. Trump had a very weak platform across the board. I mean, his domestic policy was implausible, and his foreign domestic policy was incoherent at best. I don't think he even had any.
Well, no, that's not why people vote.
But there were liberals that voted for, like, a lot of the people. I mean, the untold story about this is that so many Obama voters who are, liberal voted for Trump. And the reason is because it's anti-establishment. I mean,
right? That's what I said.
Well, I
don't agree with some
statistics on that, but.
No,
so I wanted to go back to a claim made by Mr. Keck, whoever he is. I don't know who he is.
Jesus Christ, Brent. Come on. Not
a Keck means laughing out loud in horror.
Yeah, Brenda's just going to be a dick. Go on, Brenda.
Can I talk now, Sty?
Sure.
Yeah. I just wanted a citation on his claim that the U.S. government had its foot or its boot on people's throats, some words to that effect. Could I get an example of that has happened in recent times?
Like this constant harping about what would you'd really reasonably consider the middle or upper middle class in America today that need to pay their fair share more and more and more. Like that being the constant rhetoric that the government lets out, like for being one example. Another example is people just being guilty by default, like because I am of a party to some particular culture. For example, white working class culture are just naturally represented as like being racist and bigoted, and everything else.
I don't think
you want a fucking citation to that?
Yeah,
are you fucking kidding me?
No, I think you don't understand my question. I want an actual case of the government putting its. Did
you not just hear what I said? Like the constant rhetoric from politicians that say that that the middle to upper middle working class needs to pay their fair share. Like, did you not just hear me say that? Like, so
yes, I did.
Have you not personally viewed politicians saying such things? Like during debates and everything. So you have.
Yes,
so I don't need to give you a fucking citation when it comes to that.
So this is your example of the government putting its boot on your throat.
The government's been putting the boot.
Are you mad, bro? Are you mad?
No.
Seriously.
No, I would like a citation of the government actually doing something, proactively. Suppressing you.
I want a citation of something that I've acknowledged that I've already seen myself.
Well, that's a bit like saying, can you give an example of the executive branch making America great again, and then pointing to Donald Trump's campaign?
Yeah,
right? You're referring to rhetoric, not actual actions. I think that's
he's talking to people being criticized.
No, you're just
in the press, and this is you're equating that with oppression.
He's not. Brenda is literally. I mean, I
He
no
just
offense,
did,
right?
Sty. That is literally what he
No,
just did.
no, he didn't.
It's literally what he just said.
It's not what Keck said
It's
at
literally
all.
what
You
he
just
just
interpreted it that way, Brenda, because you're like a neo fucking liberal.
He actually said rhetoric.
I bet you're one of them people who cried that Hillary Clinton lost.
Most of
Come on, dude.
You know, he actually said that it was rhetoric.
Shit that you've acknowledged that you've even seen yourself. I need to give you a citation for because reasons.
Well, I would like something a little bit more than criticism.
More than my own. I'd like something a little bit more than my own agreeance with what you've said.
Well, I need to look. I can clarify this. What Keck put forward was a bit of people talking rhetoric.
Yeah,
I'm just asking for actual governmental action.
Yeah,
that constitute boots on the throat.
I'm saying like that kind of pressure.
If I could just come in here.
Pressure and to know that that's coming, and to know that like that was part of Hillary's platform, for example, is that the quote unquote rich, which according to them anymore starts at 250K and above, needs to pay their fair share. And you wonder why.
Politicians.
One sec. Let me clarify. The problem with that declaring of the 250,000K cap is private enterprises to single own operated proprietorships that they include their single own income. That anybody has a business that's earning more than $250,000 is considered to be in the higher tax bracket, even though they're a sole proprietor.
And that's
the problem.
I just want to be
raise taxes on, right?
I just want to be clear that when I ask for examples of the government oppression against somebody,
the
example used is rhetoric in the media about
rhetoric coming from the politicians. It's not just in the media. It's the actual politicians. It's the people who are in office who you've seen on camera saying such things.
I agree. I understand. And this is your example of government oppression.
Yeah, that's not oppression. I'm sorry. Rhetoric does not.
That's an example. You can't put that on Brenda. That's fucking ridiculous.
Wait. She's not being ridiculous. She's actually asking for a concrete example. And rhetoric.
Yeah, 2008 when the fucking government bailed out the banks. There's a concrete example.
One thing you shouldn't believe coming from politicians, it's rhetoric. However, a more concrete example.
Stizer, don't talk. You're talking over everybody now. Let people talk and have their say. Max, you were next. Please speak. Okay.
Thank you. A more concrete example is the fact that there are policies wherein people's jobs are being lost across borders, at least presumably. As seen by various union workers in Michigan and the places Clinton astoundingly lost, but in places that those protectionist policies appealed across borders. People were supporting Bernie Sanders when he was doing it, and people were supporting Trump when he was speaking on those exact same protectionist policies. And Bernie himself even came out and said, insofar as Trump is serious about protecting the interests of the middle working class, then we are for him. And if he's going to be against, if he's going to be Islamophobic, homophobic, any other kind of phobic, we will work against him. There seems to be a recognition, even coming from the progressive left, that Trump is actually going to overturn many of the policies which are seen as detrimental to the working class. Ones that entail
specifically the trade policies, right?
Right, NAFTA and other trade policies, yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
You know what? I don't know. I'm going to be serious. I don't know how much they can overturn.
You already killed it. It's already been told. It's already literally been said that the TTP's dead. It's already been. Don't you ever watch the news? The TTP's dead.
Hang on. Let me say
how
this.
Many drinks have you had tonight?
Yeah, you know what? I'm buzzed as shit, and yet I'm still working here than Stizer.
Well, you know what? The problem
Stizer,
my internet connection is better than yours. I apologize if I talk.
Yeah, okay. Wait a sec, Stizer. I think a lot of people in the campaign trail make a lot of rhetorical statements. They make a lot of things that they say that I don't particularly agree with, and I don't think they actually mean themselves because they want to get elected. I get this. I get it from any politician, whether it be Democrat or Republican. I don't hold it against them because they want to get elected. I think it's sad that we have a two-party system that's primarily a two-party system where they have to resort to pandering to their constituents. I think it's sad, but that is the nature of the beast. I think both Hillary and Trump said a lot of things that, had they said to say over again, they wouldn't do the same thing. I don't believe they actually do agree with the things they've actually said in public. Even back, in fact, there was a scandal not too long ago about Hillary saying what we say in public isn't necessarily the same things they would say in private.
Totally agree. Yeah.
I understand that, and in some ways, Hillary's right. What people say in public may not be what they say in private. It sucks, but
if you give the American people a choice between a shit sandwich and a shit burger, no offense, but they're gonna choose one or the other, right? And
but here's the thing.
I'm not mad that America voted for Trump. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not.
But here's the thing. I don't care who you voted for. You voted for Hillary or voted for Trump. I don't fault you either way. My friends, the people that are Hillary supporters, like Jade and even Sam I respect them immensely, right? I don't fault them for any position they took when it came to the election. But what I'm talking about when I came to the beginning of this thing is not people like Sam or Jade that we can respect each other for our individual positions on this. I am talking about the people that have advocated on my Facebook that have literally said that if you voted for Trump, you're a bigot. If you voted for Hillary, you accept corruption.
Well, fuck that. Yeah, fuck that. I don't agree.
That is what I get annoyed about, because that is not anything representative to the people that voted for either candidate.
No,
I
think
if you right, hang on, let me finish. Let me finish. If you voted for Clinton, I don't think any less of you. I don't think you're a horrible being. I think that you have very good personal integrity and you want the best for society. You think this is the way to go about doing it. I get that. I understand the moderate liberal. I understand people like Jade and moderate liberals that want the best for society. I get that. But the people that are the far extreme on either end, whether you're far left or far right, you are not helping this country.
There's no far left in the United States anymore.
Yes, there is, Brenda.
Not really.
The Bernie Sanders fraction of the Democratic Party is still there.
No,
there's still a far left and fair right across the board.
They're the people who are going to come out in 2020.
Bernie is not far left.
No, and I agree. And you know what I've said all along, Brenda? I have said that if the DNC pulled their head out of their ass and would have had nominated Bernie
would have won
with a double-digit lead against Trump, head-to-head, he would have won.
Yeah,
he might have.
No, he would have.
No, he would have won. He would have got Wisconsin. He would have got Pennsylvania, and he would have got Michigan.
All the states that Trump won.
I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could guarantee that though.
I'm not going to guarantee it. But I mean, how about this? Hang on a second. The probability would have been much higher that if Bernie. I think Bernie had a statistically better chance, electorally speaking, than Hillary. Okay, and I don't think Bernie was far left. I think Bernie was actually pretty moderate in most things. Was he a socialist? Yes, but you know what? Let's accept reality here. A lot of things in our country is socialist.
It's socialist.
Okay, we have socialism here.
Well, there's been a lot of things said here. I mean, we can't really play back the clock as to whether. Shut the fuck up, Stizor. Like, do you not understand that? We can't play back the clock, right? So it would have been more of a battle for the white middle class. I think it would have been in some ways a closer battle, but in some ways also a further battle. The other thing that I would say is that if Trump said something anti-Semitic, which let's be honest, he probably would have at some point, I think that we shut the fuck up, you dumb scouse. But here's the other thing that would happen, though, is I think that our country would have much more of an adverse reaction to an anti-Semitic remark than the multiple sexist things that Trump has said. And I'm not happy to say that that's the truth, but let's be honest about the way that our country is. We're a lot more liberal when it comes to whether Jews are being oppressed than really any other race or minority group.
Sam, I'm actually going to say on camera, I agree with you with that wholeheartedly. I absolutely agree with you on that statement right there. How could you not, Sty? I mean, let's think about this.
The shit that he said, right? And you're gonna just go, well, because he's.
I would explain it, but you won't let me, obviously. But yes, I agree with Sam on this one.
Come on, don't use the whole "I took over people's shit" as an argument. Come on, please.
No, you can express yourself. Go ahead.
Look, I'm not American, right? I'm trying to give you an objective point from someone from the outside, right? I watched the entire election from Bernie Sanders day one on C-SPAN. Right, I watched him on C-SPAN from day one. I've watched the entire election through the primaries. I supported Bernie Sanders, not because I'm American. I just thought this would be the best case scenario for Americans. Everything Bernie Sanders said makes sense to me as a British person. I wish my fucking retarded so-called leader,
What about Rand Paul, Sty?
Well, okay. Don't like Rand Paul because
why? Rand Paul resonated a lot with Americans.
I'll tell you what.
That's why.
No, I would say I like Rand Paul. His dad. I would not Rand. I like his dad, right? I like his dad because he wasn't an interventionist. I don't like wars, so I would obviously like that shit.
Rand Paul also isn't an interventionist.
No. I'm not saying I agree with everything, right? I'm not American. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible to Americans who happen to want to, I don't know, indulge in other people's opinions, right? And from the outside, right, for me, there was no way, according to all my friends and Twitter and shit, as soon as Hillary was nominated as the nominee, I knew, and most Europeans knew, that I was talking to, she was never going to beat Donald Trump. And we were laughed at the time. That's not going to happen. Why? America voted for George W. Bush twice. Do we live on the same planet? I mean, everybody that you're saying never voted for Trump voted. Like, I've even had arguments with people who are like Black Lives Matter saying, oh, it's all racism. I'm like, well, the same people who you're calling racist voted for Obama in 2012 and 2008.
No, I agree with you and I don't agree with you. Okay, one of the issues I've had is that Obama was elected for 2 terms. Okay? And the same people that have voted Obama for 2 terms had voted for Trump. That's a given. We understand that. Anybody says otherwise has not looked at the electoral.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, seriously. The people that voted for Obama twice still voted for Trump. This is not a racial issue, okay? It has nothing to do with race. I'm really tired when people tell me, oh, well, you didn't support Hillary, therefore you're against a woman president. I've had that. And I'm like, wait a minute, no. There's a lot of women presidents I thought would be fine. I'd be like okay with. And she's not one of them, okay? What the hell's her name?
Elizabeth Warren?
Elizabeth Warren, thank you.
Elizabeth,
he already knew because we talked about it. Well, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with a woman president.
She voted for someone, what's his name? Tom, whatever his fucking name is, that guy. He's like fucking pro-TTP. It's like she literally voted for...
The point being is, if you didn't vote for Hillary, it doesn't mean you're misogynistic. It doesn't mean you're against a woman.
Not. Dude, I totally agree. That's why I'm so perplexed that, like, people are shocked at Donald Trump's election. I'm not shocked.
Wait.
I'd vote for Hannah, right? Hannah for prez. Yay.
Yeah, I'd vote for my fucking cat at this point.
Wait, whatever. You're not shocked that Trump won because all the polls.
No, I'm not shocked at all. I'm shocked that the mainstream media.
What inside information did you have?
But do you agree that even though I would be fine with Elizabeth Warren, I would hate for fucking Sarah Palin to become president? I would lose my mind, and I was more conservative, but Sarah Palin's a fucking idiot.
No, but
why would I want her to be president?
That is
what
true.
you got to understand is the American electorate was given a choice, right? And look at the day in which we live in.
This lecture again from Guy.
Sam, I know you don't like me because I have a difference of opinion, but you don't need to fucking.
Wait, I want to know this. Does anybody think Sarah Palin would have made a good president, or even a cabinet nominee?
No, I don't.
I would be like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
I will say this.
She's a conservative, but fucking stupid.
But I will give you this. She would be a good PILF.
Oh my God! President,
in what world?
Thank you, Max.
No.
Lowest common denominator.
I don't know, Steve. Like she could have become president and then just not done much. Those are usually those are usually the best kind. What are you talking about? The ones that want that are the most ambitious are the ones that tear our shit up the most.
Come on, man. We've all listened to Sarah Palin give her fucking interviews. Oh my. She didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. I've never seen somebody so ill-equipped to be in politics.
But it would just,
She sounds worse than me.
It would just be like, I know, but it would just be like a short 4 years of Barbie Paradise presidency, and we'd be over it basically.
No,
at that
well,
point.
If you're gonna elect the Democratic Socialist, elect Bernie. Oh my God.
No.
At least Bernie fucking answered questions. At least Bernie had something to say.
Yeah, you know what, right? In the primaries, and this is the thing I'm going to say. Like I said, I'm objective. I'm not American, so I just watch the primaries and all that stuff as an objective, right? You know, just being not American.
You're objective.
No, I am objective. Shut the fuck up, Brandy. You always have a fucking...
Hey, Sty, come on, man.
I'm just saying, let me finish.
Sty, we don't need that against Brenda here. Come on.
All right, well,
this isn't fucking Ronnie's room.
All right. Well, I was just saying, right, Brenda, if you don't interrupt me, just let me finish. You can disagree afterwards, Brenda, please.
Okay.
Right, so what I'm saying is, I was trying to be objective and looking at, like, the polls and stuff and whatever. There was like 16 Republicans, literally, and there's 2 on the Democratic side, Hillary versus Bernie. You can't even count the other people, which is the other dude, right? So whatever. And I'm thinking, well, okay, let's look at the polls. Hillary Clinton is one of the most disliked people, even amongst Democrats, right? One of the most disliked people. And you're gonna elect her as the fucking as the nominee. He's won. And when I said that to my friends like Jim, I was in his room the other day. He was like, "Who do you think's gonna win the fucking presidential election?" I said, "It's Trump." There's no way you can give Americans the choice between somebody who is, okay, let's face it, eccentric. Put whatever narrative you want on that shit. Is eccentric versus the same old bullshit, which is Hillary Clinton. I know who's gonna win because Americans just have that kind of weird shit where they just can go.
I don't know, man.
Okay. Anyways, hey guys.
I don't fault them. I think that I understand
girls.
why Hillary was picked, why they picked her.
Yeah, you know what, guys, and I do too, and I've said this all along. Look, I very much strongly believe that Hillary lost because people do not want the status quo. People do not like these pejoratives like racist and bigot thrown around casually. I don't think anybody in my hangout here is a racist or a bigot at all. If I did, I wouldn't probably allow them in. There have been a few. We all know who they are: Iron Nation and Dynasties. We know they're bigots. I don't really allow them in here. Right? And I am the most anti-bigot of the world, right? I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're white or black, Hispanic, Mexican.
He also has a
whatever.
huge
I don't care.
Him off at the same time, you know.
Yeah. You know what?
That was the most self-flagellating little rant.
I don't care.
There is a point to make, right? Is I do think that similar to sort of the Brexit effect, and I don't know how much of it's true, but I think that Trump's election has galvanized people in terms of those who are actually intolerant. But like to act as if that somehow got him elected, it's only one contributing factor. I mean, the ultimate thing comes down to the fact that Hillary was not a candidate who was going to embolden the base to actually come out and vote and be activists. That's what it comes down to.
It mainly has. Yeah, no, hang on. You know what, Sam? I agree with you.
Trump. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Let me finish this up. I'm gonna let you go next. Go finish up, and I'll finish up because I have to end this. But Pruitt, go ahead. Throw your 2 cents in because I'm curious.
Look at the numbers. I mean, just in terms of popular vote, Trump got less votes than Mitt Romney in 2012, but Hillary got, I think, she had 7 million less votes than Barack Obama from 2012. What does that tell you? It really has nothing to do with there being a Trump insurgency. It just has to do with the fact of Hillary. I mean, it's not just the fact, but it mainly has to do with the fact of Hillary's insane unpopularity.
Yeah, she failed.
Yeah.
I can give you my 2 cents on why I think Hillary lost.
All right, go ahead.
My 2 cents on this is that she ran a negative campaign, and she failed to elucidate a positive message on what she would do that would help people in the middle of the country in like Michigan and Wisconsin. She didn't even visit Wisconsin once, and she should have done that. And she should have told those people, these are my policies, and this is going to help you get your jobs back and stuff. Donald Trump, when he was in his appearances, repeated over and over that he was going to bring jobs back. And Hillary didn't say anything about that. She didn't give people a reason to think that she was going to change anything and bring jobs back. And I think that was the main portion of it. There is some I think there is a not insignificant part of it that is a racist white backlash against Obama, but I don't know that that was decisive. I think that what was probably decisive was her negative campaign and her failure to give a positive message and a positive economic proposals for how she was going to make things differently.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say that I'm going to partly agree with you on that, Brenda. I think both of them. I think all campaigners go by negative things, and I agree with you. I don't think either one of them really had a clear plan. But let me say this: I think the vast majority of our community are not bigots. I think the vast majority of us are not racist. We do have some of them in our community, but for the most part, we all want equal rights. We all want people to have freedoms. We all want people, if you're gay or straight or whatever. We don't care. Do what makes you happy that's corresponding to your own life agenda. I don't have an issue with any of that. That's what it comes down to. And I think that these people that are out there having protest, I think they're actually so upset that they didn't get their way that they just cannot recognize the fact that, you know what, we're not going to be falling apart as a nation no matter who got elected. We're not. We're Americans. We're Americans.
No, I don't think it's about being American. I think the fact is that, you know, okay, it is, right, in the sense, like, you know, you got the sense of being American regardless red or blue, but I think the problem is that the DNC gave the people something that they just didn't want. And
we've already recognized that. We've already recognized that.
No, I think that
nobody's the truth, dude.
There was no need, there's no need hang on. There's no need to comment like that because that's already recognized. The DNC fucked up.
Yeah, but
right?
Steve, if you look at the shitstorm that's coming now from, if you go on Twitter, dude, and you look, dude, I'm looking at the Twitter feed and I'm thinking all these reasons for why it's white males. They're literally blaming white males because of Trump.
I know. I get that. You're arguing for the wrong purposes here because I think we all agree upon this.
Stop eating them.
Nobody here is advocating white supremacy. Nobody's here advocating against minority rights.
Yeah, I know you.
That's what hang on, let me finish. That's what I like about the Great Debate community. I think the Great Debate community is filled with really, really brilliantly intelligent, great people. We have diversification.
Oh, I have the opposite conclusion. I think.
Well, Sam, you're an arrogant prick.
You're a scientist. We know that, Sam.
Sam's an arrogant prick. He's like, well, most of you are pretty stupid, but there's a few people that ain't bad.
There are a few people who are very well informed. I think that when it comes to scientific issues, we're generally okay in this community, but when it comes to political issues, I mean, hopelessly uninformed.
You know, it's possible, and you know what? But you know, political things have always been the most divisive things in the world, right?
Well, no.
Politics separates people to no end, right?
The basic information at hand, right? And
might be. I mean, Sam. I mean, do you agree that probably half the people wouldn't even know what the electoral college is? I agree with that. I don't think people really understand what the hell goes on when an election happens.
That's
like
sad, sad too.
I do, and I'm not even.
Well, when Pruden and I were actually doing our hangout the other day about the electoral college and we're going on the votes, we kind of knew what was going on. We're calling this. We're like, wait a minute, he has right now the assurity that he's probably going to win, and people are like, oh no, Hillary's going to pull this out. I'm like, how? You're not really paying attention to the individual states here in the 270 electoral college, right?
It looked like he was going to win from the onset. Right from the onset, it looked like he was going to win to me. Like according to
he was ahead the entire time.
It took a little while. I honestly thought that.
Hold on. For me, I mean, when he won Florida and North Carolina, I was a little shocked, but I thought Hillary could at least pull off like the Rust Belt.
Florida, North Carolina, Ohio. Done.
When I saw that Trump was up in Wisconsin, I was like, that's it. It's over. He's fucking got this.
Well, and that was one of the states he needed to flip. Remember I was saying that he probably needed to flip something? Not only flip Wisconsin, but he flipped Michigan and Pennsylvania.
That's unbelievable. When you, I mean,
who would have expected that? And you know what? And I am fine with admitting that I predicted Clinton to win.
Same here.
Contingently speaking, but I mean, we were accurate on those predictions. We were not using the mainstream media by going, "Oh, she's going to win by a landslide." We're like, "No, Trump has a very good, viable chance." And if you count him out, it's by your own detriment.
And again, like I would agree a lot with like what Brenda said earlier on that. Like the reason he flipped those states is because there are a lot of people who are missing their factories that live in those.
Yeah, I agree.
In those states.
We're in total agreement there.
Right, but I would actually go further. I'd say because people are falling through the cracks, a lot of people are unemployed in America. A lot of them did vote because what was it, like a very high turnout of uneducated, college educated.
You know what? You know what? I love that claim. You know why I love that claim? Because the media puts it that way, right? They say that the most white uneducated people voted for Trump, but what they don't say is that the most white educated people also voted for Trump.
Oh yeah, like
they leave that part out, right? So I love
exactly
that.
like
This is part of what
you're talking over each other.
This is well. Let me. If I'd like to finish it because I'd like to mention you, Stein. This is part of like what he was talking about earlier about why we get it. Like, why is it like the average white male's fault or something like that, right? If you watched the election, if you watched the media coverage live during the election, they were literally going down it like Google Maps style and going down into like counties and neighborhoods and saying, look, these white people who lived specifically right here voted for Trump. They were covering it just like that. Like that's like a fear tactic almost to put that on the to put that on the television like that. That's what they were doing. They were going, these white people who live over here and in this area over here, these white people that lived over here, these people that live specifically here voted for Trump. So if you want to know who voted for Trump, it's these white people who live exactly right here. That's how the media was covering that.
Dr. Troy Lawrence has messaged me. He's installing the Google software.
I'm here.
We're going to wait for him to finish it before I actually start a new one because we wait.
He's here, I think.
Hello, Mr. Universal.
Hang on. I want to get Mr. Universal in a second because he just joined us. I'm not sure where he is. But somebody had asked a good question. Yes. Let me throw it to you 1 second. Somebody asked a good question. I want to address it. They said, Steve, it was Mike J. Love you, buddy. He asked a great question. He said, do you think the Electoral College is still useful? You know what's funny is if you had asked me that question 5 years ago, I probably would have said no. But actually nowadays, I kind of understand the need for the Electoral College. There's very decent reasons why we have the Electoral College to prevent a plurality or majority to overrun the minority in where it comes to demographics. Now, do I think the system makes sense? No. I mean, reality is California dictates a huge amount of who gets elected. I mean, that's 55 electoral votes, the greatest of any percentage of the nation, but has a very high density. I understand the reason for popular vote, but we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic. So had you asked me that question a while ago, I would have said no. But at this time now, yes, I understand the need for electoral college. I think either system.
If you say electoral one more time, my head is going to explode.
Yeah, you sound scouse, Steve. Don't do that.
Sorry.
Don't sound like Skizor if you've learned any lesson.
Don't sound like me, dude. You just remember.
What does anybody think it should be? Does anybody think right here that should be abolished outright? Just like
I think it needs to be changed because if you look at how vastly disproportionate votes count in states like Wyoming, like relative to California, it's ridiculous. Like,
fair enough.
You could theoretically win.
I would argue that's why
in the middle of a fucking
stop interrupting him, guys. I can't hear Sam if you guys interrupt him. Wait, you get your shot, Sam. Please finish. I was listening to you intently on that.
Fuck. Well, if you look at the number, it's something like, and this was before the last sentences when I read this, but it was something like less than 40. You could win the Electoral College with like less than 40% of the vote or something like. It's something like it might have been closer to like 37 or 35%. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. So I mean, I think that we need to sort of account for the fact that cities have such large population densities, and they should count for. The population centers should count for a little bit more than they currently do, but generally speaking, it's a good check against the tyranny of the majority.
I would agree with that, but to add something else in terms of its benefit,
because you can't exactly predict which states are going to be swing states and even which ones would flip. What's great about the Electoral College isn't that it takes into account the needs of the states, but also that it balances it, because this way campaigns don't just appeal to, a certain segment of the states that have a majority of the population, nor can they just appeal to the huge population centers. Rather, strategists have to take into account so many variables and appeal to all kinds of people. So
okay, Max. All right, Max.
All right, let's get Universal in here real quick. Universal, by the way, welcome. Not sure if I know you. Do I know you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you know what? Welcome to the Great Debate community. Join in my bald-headed amigo, because I want that. I'm starting to get.
Okay, well, whatever.
Steve, I've told you need to shave the Father Time beard.
No, I'm doing the year thing.
Okay.
No, I know, but okay. First of all, I'm doing a year, and I can't. Normally, you stay the neckline here, but I'm doing the year, and it has my graph.
Hey, don't hate.
You know what, Sam? I'm not trying to fuck you, so I don't care. You don't have.
I like Steve because he's trying to.
Hey, maybe if you dressed and behaved in a way that you would be trying to fuck me, you'd get some gay guy.
Yeah, I got medals. I'd be like, wait a minute here, Sam. Look at.
Hey.
Universal.
You wouldn't get me, but
don't just ignore these guys.
Yo, anyway, Mr. Universal. Introduce yourself to the community.
Sure. My name is Troy Lawrence, and I'm a creationist, and I wrote a book regarding the science behind the Genesis creation account and global flood.
Okay.
Oh, so anyways, hang on. So this is Dr. Troy Lawrence. He's a chiropractor. He's the one that we're going to be having a discussion with, and probably I'll give about 5 minutes. I want to wrap this up. He was very nice enough to actually try to advocate for Dr. Tompkins' position and some younger creationist model. So thank you very much. Can I call you Troy? We're kind of informal here. What I'm going to do, Troy, is I'm about wrapping this up. I want to give everybody a fair shot. I like to.
Can you call me master? Because I have a master's degree.
Shut up, son.
By the way, me, Sam. He has a master's degree.
Just ignore Sam. He's the scientist.
Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry. I'm just being.
Sounds awesome.
I'm going to step away. So, Steve, I would hope that you start this because I would like to be able to leave my house.
We all want to join.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will on the shirt. It's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We're going to start the new hangout.
All right.
I wanted to introduce Dr. Troy Lawrence because he, like I said, he was one of the very few that actually respond to us in our call out for young Earth creationists to come and engage with us. Because, as many of you guys know, we've had old Earth creationists come in. Troy, you know Dr. Hugh Ross, right?
I don't know him personally as a friend, but I'm aware of him. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's come in, and Dr. Fuzzrana, and anyways, we're having a very difficult time finding some young Earth creationists. We've done it for many years. We used to engage with people like Nephilim Free and
don't mention that.
Hang on, a lot of the G+. So we were looking for somebody with a little bit more experience. And now you have a medical background of some sorts. Now people can contest chiropractic. I happen to actually like chiropractors, so you have an advantage there. Where my lower back pain, I think they're great, but what we're going to do is about 10 minutes. I'm going to feed this over to a new live feed. I'm going to invite Sam, Rumpus, Ruhif.
And me.
No, not you.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah. And we're going to talk about some of the more technical things about young Earth creationism, and that's what you wanted to do, and I'm grateful for that. But I want to get you a feel to, hey, you know what? This is kind of what we do in the Great Debate community. We all agree and disagree on a variety of different subjects. It's not a shotgun, or a sharpshooting. We're not trying to attack anybody. This has nothing to do with somebody's religious faith. It's just all about science and what people's claims are. Does that make sense, Troy?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, Steve, if you will indulge me before we go over to the other hang, which we're gonna watch. I've literally got a serious question, and this is a question.
Go ahead.
This is literally based on science. How do we explain the speed of light and the size?
We'll get into those technical questions in my next hangout. This is not technical hangout. This is political now.
But
you got to keep it on target, man. Come on.
But I'm just trying. I want to ask
Troy, you're an American. You're in Central Time, right?
I'm in Central Time. Yes, in the Central United States.
So you're sick of this political bullshit as well as we are, right?
That's not even political.
Yeah.
I think the question's a wonderful question, but yes, the political realm. I'm I've had enough of the political.
Yeah,
realm.
exactly. So shut up, Steve. Let me finish my question.
We'll ask him about the speed of light and things in that next hangout. I want to get technical in the next hangout.
All right. Well, okay.
But you want to get Paul? Is Paul going
to answer that then?
Yes, he is.
Is that a question?
Paul, yeah, no, he is prepared to answer it.
Answered. Well, okay. He just needs to answer it now, and I'll be fair, right? Because I do want to save it for Steve's hangout.
Good.
Right.
But now, will Paul be joining us, Troy?
Is he prepared for that?
I'm not aware that he would be able to join us.
I'm going to invite him anyways. Okay. I really want to get Kevin Anderson in here because Kevin Anderson works directly with Dr. Tompkins. They're friends, and some of the intricacies that we have involved are dealing with some of the things Tompkins has claimed when it comes to human chromosomes too. But we're going to discuss that. So what I'm going to do is everybody at 4 o'clock my time, which is 10 minutes from now, we're going to start the new hangout. I have many dozens of viewers right now. Please continue on with us as we talk to Dr. Troy Lawrence and anybody who wants to join him. We're going to have a very civil discussion about these topical issues when it comes to young creationism. But I want to finish this one out, and I want everybody to have their say. So when it comes to this particular hangout, when it comes to political agenda, when it comes to Trump and Hillary and the Second Amendment, say what you got to say and then get out. I'm going to do what the Reds does. Say what you got to say. I like his format. Say what you got to say and then leave. So, Stizer, you go first. Say what you got to say and then get out.
Well, okay. Mine's not political. Mine is just I would hope that in the next hangout, I would hopefully ask that Steve or anybody else who's scientific would ask him how is the speed of light relative to the age of the planet Earth, and that's my only point. And I should get the
fair enough. I will remember that.
And I remember
that.
Fuck out and await the question.
All right, get out.
Thank you.
All right, get out.
You have to give me the
Odeon. Drop. Yeah, Odeon. Yeah, you didn't say anything, my friend, but you popped in. Much respect. But do you have anything to say before you get out? Odeon.
He's not there. Just
yeah. Max, moving on to you, my friend. And by the way, do you want to get invited to the next hangout?
You know
I will invite you.
I'm more of a theology junkie than a science nerd, so that's probably.
I don't mind if you delve a little bit into theology. I don't mind that at all. Obviously, Troy is a theologian of some sorts. He's a theist, and I don't mind somebody else having somebody else, to in his little camp. I don't mind that. Troy, would you be okay with that?
Oh, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I'd be happy to
right.
then.
Because I respect you, Max.
Oh, just send me the link to my Facebook.
All right, I'll invite you. Now get out.
Oh, okay. Wait, didn't I have to say what I get to say?
Oh, sure, I guess so.
Okay, fine. Well, Brenda's after me, so she's gonna respond, but I'll say it anyway. Long live guns and ammunition.
All right, Brenda, you're next. Say what you got to say, girl.
Well, as a liberal communist, socialist, fascist, I want to take away all of your guns and force everybody into gay marriage, and I have aborted fetuses for breakfast every morning.
Brenda, as much as I disagree with you, I have the utmost respect for you, and you do know that. I hope you really do. I love the way you handle yourself in these Clown Car Posse hangouts, and I agree with you on almost like 90% of shit. So we have a lot more in common than you probably realize.
Well, hopefully that was humorous. That was the objective.
Well, no, it wasn't. You have really bad at humor, but that's okay.
Okay.
Peace, girl. Hannah, my love.
Yes. How can I help you?
Do you want to join us in the next hangout? I'll invite you as well.
Yeah, I would actually like to be a part of that if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Because you're kind of like me. You're like more of a neutral.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I have questions of my own I'd like to pose, but of course, I'd like to listen mostly and go on more the theological side when we get to it.
Yeah, I will do that. So, anyways, go ahead and get out. By the way, 6 minutes. I'm gonna start the new hangouts 4 o'clock. Dr. Lawrence, I'm gonna call you Troy. I'm gonna invite a few people. This is not anything I want anybody to think that anybody's gonna be in sharpshooted or called out. This is just an interlocutory with people with different positions. Have a really good, honest discussion, and looks like you're really for that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I muted Odeon. So I appreciate that very muchly. I mean, we've invited a lot of people on my channel. Like I said, we've had Dr. Hugh Ross, we've had Fuzzrana, King Crocoduck, but I'm finding it very difficult to find the Earth creationists. And I'm going to give you full disclosure. I am very much anti Earth creationist, but I will never disrespect somebody who just wants to put forth an honest opinion and can do so intellectually speaking. I respect that. What we find in our community is a lot of the younger creationists, they're just ignorant across the board. And we're not interested in that kind of conversation anymore. So what we're going to do is in 6 minutes or 5 minutes, I'm going to start a new hangout. I'm going to invite you in with some other people, and we're going to have a very civil, really concise dialogue in regards to Stanford's genetic entropy and human chromosome 2 and maybe geology and other things. By the way, I have to admit, full disclosure, I'm a veteran. I fell off, but but I'm a little bit been drinking, but it's not going to affect my judgment in any way. So, would you join us in about 5 minutes after I make the new hangout?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Awesome. So, anyways, the people who are listening, come follow us over the new hangout. It's going to be a little Patreon hangout. I'm not going to lie. People that want to subscribe to my channel, by all means, do so. I appreciate it immensely. Every little bit contributes to finding people to come in and engage with us, like Troy and other people. So, anyways, give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna end this hangout, and we're gonna start a new one. So I got 40 viewers now. I expect at least 40 viewers in 5 minutes. So, anyways, thank you for watching this. I know I rant a little bit. Whether you're American, whether you're European, whatever you believe in, it really doesn't matter. The fact is, we are one big universal country in a way. We are Americans, we're Europeans, but we're still humans. I don't think the vast majority of people want racism. I don't think the vast majority of people want bigotry. I think most people are generally good, and I hate to admit that because I'm so cynical when it comes to people. But I think overall, the people that I know in the great debate community are great, great people. I may not agree with them politically or socially sometimes, but you know what? I respect all of them. So that's what it really boils down to. Show some respect. Don't call us people, like the Clown Car Posse. We're not the same as them. We're not the same as the people that just want to insult people rather than in actually dialogue. This isn't about vitriolic name calling or pejoratives. That serves nobody. So I just want to point out to everybody in the Great Debate community, stop with the hate. Okay, let's try to actually have conversations like we used to have, because I'm not interested in that bullshit anymore. I'm not interested in people name calling. That's easy to do. Having a good argument, that's hard. So anyways, I'm in that. Thank you very much. I'm going to say to my theistic friends, God bless. My atheistic friends, happy Rastafarian. But all my veterans especially, thank you for serving, as myself included. And I'm going to start the new one in 3 minutes.